Hell yeah.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Morbid Hour live stream.
Welcome.
We'll be discussing some horror films we feel are misunderstood. Now, we already did underrated horror, but that was more like movies that not a lot of people know about, or at least don't talk about very much. This time, it's going to be movies that we believe get unfairly maligned and seem to get a lot of hate when in our opinion they don't deserve it. So that's what today's stream is going to be all about, and then after that we're going to count down our top 5 go-to metal albums, the ones that we end up reaching for the most.
That's
fun. Yeah, and looks like 1-2 is in the chat. How's it going, 1-2?
Hello. Welcome. You guys look dapper today.
Thanks.
I'd say this year's off to a pretty good start.
Yeah. Mine wasn't, but you know.
Oh.
Well,
sorry to hear
that. It
that.
can only go up from here.
Good. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you. All right, guys, ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
I guess I'll start us off this time. So my number 5 misunderstood horror movie is actually going to be the 2005 remake of House of Wax. Now, it's not nearly as good as the 1953 original with Vincent Price, which was actually also a remake of a movie called Mystery of the Wax Museum from 1933 with Fay Wray, who was also in King Kong that same year. A lot of people don't know the movie's a remake too. So this is a remake of a remake. Yeah. It's a remake of a remake, and yeah, like I said, it's not as good as either of those. I really like this a lot. Now, me and my ex-girlfriend saw a lot of horror movies that year in 5 theater to go see a lot of horror movies, and just really sucked. Like the Fog remake and all that garbage. But we actually ended up liking this one quite a bit. I thought it was creepy. I thought some scenes were genuinely disturbing and gruesome. It's an interesting concept, killing these 2 brothers. One of them is disfigured. One of them looks normal. They're both evil, and they kill people and coat them in wax and make them look like realistic wax sculptures, just like in the original. It's a really interesting, very, very creepy concept. And it has a lot of really cool atmosphere. I really like the evil brothers. They were interesting. It made me in the mood to want to watch something else like that. When I first saw it, I was like, I want them to make more movies like this. I kind of felt like almost like a little bit of an old school 80s feel in a way. Plus, it's good to see Paris Hilton die. That's always good.
Everybody says that.
Yeah. But I think that the movie's pretty good. There's flaws for sure. It's definitely not, too great or anything. There's some really bad CGI. And even the one killer's disfigured face, they use CGI for that. Really? Use makeup.
Yeah, I know.
It looked terrible. Why are they use CGI? It's ridiculous. It looked like crap. But other than that, it was a pretty decent movie. I really liked it. And that was one of the better horror movies we saw that year. And they kind of set up for the sequel at the end, sort of. And I wouldn't have minded had they done that. Because like I said, I really enjoyed it. So for the most part, so yeah, House of Wax from 2005. I think it's pretty misunderstood.
Yeah, like you said, it came out at a time where they were knocking them out. A lot of crappy remakes, but that was one of the better ones for sure.
Yeah, I see this one grouped in with all those other crappy ones.
Yeah. People tend to throw that in with the Fog or.
Right. Yeah, they think it's going to be like that. But, maybe my expectations were really, really low that year, but I ended up really enjoying this one, mostly. So, and I don't understand why it's so disliked. But,
yeah.
But, whatever.
It's a good choice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sean, if you want to go ahead, we can go like this round.
Yeah, we'll go clockwise.
My number 5 is going to be Bride of Re-Animator.
Great choice.
Yes, this one kind of feel gets some hate, and nobody talks about it, and I don't understand why. Like, I think it's such a good follow-up. Like, and you got Dr. Hill coming back. You got Dan coming back. I love the story. I love the kind of the callbacks to the Bride of Frankenstein. I love the craziness of it, the over the top effects, the blood and gore, and I think Jeffrey Combs is just as good in this one as he was in the first one.
Definitely.
I love it. I think it's
agree.
there's definitely more humor in it than the first one, which might turn some people off to it, but I think people need to check it out. Give it a chance. I think it's a great follow up. It's one of my favorite horror sequels, actually.
Yeah, that movie is. I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really good follow up.
So good.
I mean, nothing beats Dr. Carl Hill's head flying around the bat wings.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's great to see Jeffrey Combs and Bruce Abbott return as Dr.
Yeah.
West and Dr. Kane. And of course, Dr. Hill, too, who's just a disembodied head. And gets the bat wings. And it's very over the top and gory, just like the first one. I think it might be a little more disturbing than the first movie, actually. There's some scenes I think are pretty horrific, but in a fun way mostly. It's very, very entertaining. And yeah, I'm surprised how many people actually haven't seen it. I know a lot of horror fans have seen the original. Pretty much all of them have, but I don't know very many people have seen Bride of Re-Animator, which is weird. A lot of people I talk to don't even know it exists. So I think Beyond Re-Animator is kind of underrated too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
I agree.
But it's a great trilogy. I would love for them to make a fourth one.
Me too.
That is.
I'm sure Barbara and Jeff would like to too.
Yeah, definitely.
And probably Bruce Abbott too.
Yeah, it'd be great if he returned. He wasn't in the third one.
Right.
Well, my first one up here. Stay with me now. No people don't care for this movie. I'm going with Hellraiser Inferno.
Wow.
I personally think, as far as the Hellraiser sequels that weren't meant to be Hellraiser, this is the best one of the bunch.
That wasn't meant to be. Yeah.
I like the story with the detective, where every Hellraiser just tried to do the same thing. This Pinhead in the movie, Pinhead has very limited scenes, but I kind of mixed on it because he had limited things in the original too, but they just had that better than this. But I think, as far as like the effects go, there are some great effects. And there are some iffy 2000s CGI effects. But I dig it. It's got this cool noir feel to it and just kind of dark and dirty. And that's what I like from a Hellraiser movie. Clearly not the best of the franchise, but it's the one dismisses that I think should be given just another chance. If you don't like it, I understand. But yeah. I think even Craig Schaefer gives a great performance in this movie. He's going mad, and pretty good twist in it too. Once again, all the follow ones we just try to do the same. Hellraiser Inferno. I'd say I still prefer 1, 2, 3, and 4, but then probably that one after.
Interesting choice.
Yes.
I didn't mind it too much when I first saw it. I was like, it's all
I haven't
right.
watched that.
Yeah. It was watchable.
Yeah.
I remember renting it when it first came out, and yeah, I just remember, I don't remember much about it. It's been years since I've seen it. I just remember Pinhead was barely in it, and it was obvious that they just put the Hellraiser name on it, like later on, just get people to see it. And like, yeah, of all the sequels after 4, I do remember liking that one a little more than some of the others. I've really been a big fan of like movies that try to be psychological mind warps where you can't tell what's a dream and what's reality. Unless it's phantasm. And yeah, a lot of the Hellraiser sequels after part 4 do that. But I remember Inferno actually being pretty decent compared to the others. So yeah. I'll have to get a rewatch now. So.
Yeah.
I didn't even so sure I like Bloodlines better than that. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Bloodline.
Oh, yeah.
Really, the only 2 that are great are the first 2.
Yeah, no
I think 3 is. Yeah, I think 3 is enjoyable, like kind of as a guilty pleasure. I think it's pretty amusing, despite being a bad movie. And same with Bloodline. And you can probably say about some of the sequels. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have to give Inferno a rewatch, so because I don't remember much about it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So my next choice is going to be Pet Sematary 2. Now I see this one getting a lot of negative reception. Now the first movie is technically a much better movie, as it's based on Stephen King's novel, and it follows it pretty faithfully for the most part. Adapts it pretty well. It's pretty loyal to the source material for the most part. The first one's a very grim, very bleak, very joyless, very depressing movie with themes of guilt and grief, and it's very disturbing. It's far scarier and it's just more suspenseful. I don't watch the first movie a lot because it's just so depressing, but I watch this one a lot. This movie's a blast. It's just highly entertaining. It is kind of fall into the guilty pleasure territory. I had the same director as the first one. It kind of borders on horror comedy a little bit. There's still a lot of pretty gruesome scenes, some really brutal stuff, some really sad stuff too, just like the first movie. But I mostly like it because of Clancy Brown's character, Gus. He's freaking awesome. He's just hilarious. Now, when he's alive, he was a total prick. Like, you were rooting against him. Well, after he gets killed and then is buried in the pet cemetery and comes back, he's just a riot. Oh, man, what a great character. He's so fun to watch. So many great lines. He's just so entertaining, and he really makes the movie for me. But I like the whole cast too. Edward Furlong and Anthony Edwards from Revenge of the Nerds and all that. I think it's a good cast. It's not a great movie by any means. There's a lot of problems with it, but I think it's overall pretty enjoyable. I don't know. I liked it.
Interesting choice.
I think it's perfect in the way of great video store memories. Fun.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, my next pick is going to be Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. That's definitely a movie that gets a lot of hate. And I'm not going to say it's a perfect movie. There is some cringy stuff, but there's some great stuff too, much like number 1 on my list. And I think it has the scariest version of Freddy in the whole series. I think he looks the most evil, the best makeup job, the best performance by Robert Englund. And I just wish people would give it a chance, but they get so much hate. And I know it has become sort of a cult classic in a way. People see it like a gay movie, which is cool, but I just wish it was an overall respected movie. But It's at least it's got some kind of following, but I just wish it got more love, because it's much more serious than once you get to 3, it comes a little more. I don't want to say campy, but there's more humor. Once you get to 3 and 4 and 5, and
Right.
I feel like the first 2 are very, very like serious horror, and that's the kind of horror I love the most. And I feel it works on so many levels in that way.
Agree.
I
Like
agree.
especially that the opening dream sequence is fantastic. It's very
yeah, on the bus.
yeah, very scary, very dark, and I love it.
Hell yeah.
You always liked part 2. It's not one of my favorites in the franchise, but it's not one of my least favorites either. I like how dark it is. I like how Freddy's still scary. Because as much as I love part 3, from part 3 onward, he became more of a funny comedic character. He's still scary in part 2, and I agree. He definitely had the best look, the best makeup job. He looked awesome in that movie. And Robert Englund was great as always.
Yeah.
I like that it did something different than the original. It wasn't just him terrorizing a bunch of teens in their dreams. Like he's trying to possess Jesse, played by Mark Patton. I think that was cool. They did something different.
I thought that was
and a lot of people
interesting, but
complain-
a lot of people hate that part of it.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
why? Like
I like that. They did something different. It didn't just copy the first movie. And a lot of people complain that he comes out in the real world at the end too. It's like, okay, he did that in the first movie too. And he does that in a lot of movies.
Because Nancy brought him into the real world, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know why people complain about that. I mean, I like that they did something. It definitely has some big flaws. There's a lot of things I don't like about it. But there's a lot of things I do like about it. So.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting, having like the demon within you're trying to break through.
Yeah.
There's a lot of true to life things in there,
You've got the body, I've got the brains.
Yeah.
It was a cool concept.
It's got some cool effects too, like the scene where he breaks through Jesse,
Yeah, that was cool.
And when you first see him, like you see his eyeball inside Jesse's mouth. I was like, that's awesome.
At the pool party, he's like, "You're all my children now." I think they could have done a little more with that. He just kind of leaves like right away. It's like, they could have made that a big massacre where he just kind of slaughters everybody at the party or something,
That was cool though.
Yeah, it was still cool.
And that's one of the most memorable scenes probably in the franchise when he
yeah.
fire behind him. You're all my children now.
Yeah. Like you said, the bus scene, I think, is one of the best dream sequences in the entire series.
Yeah.
Definitely great. For me, my next one, I will always defend this damn movie. Curse of Michael Myers. Obviously, this is not one of the more liked franchise, but damn it, I love it. I think growing up loving it here, that movie, the worst of the franchise. I'm like, can you not name one good thing about? Not even one good thing. Automatically, worst movie ever. I'm like, this movie has so many just fantastic things about it. To me, best Halloween atmosphere of the franchise, no doubt. Like, it feels like Halloween. Trail of Mike, brutal as hell. It was the most brutal Myers, like the Dr. Massacre perfection.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it makes your eyes hurt with all the flashing lights like that. Like, what else? The kills in the movie are brutal as hell. Now, I think one of my big problems is that once the producer cut became officially available for everyone, a lot of the people that never saw this film ended up seeing this version. So they got to see the baby being Michael's and all that type shit. And it's like, yeah, that was more speculation in the theatrical version. You don't But like I said before, there's things that producers like more Dr. Loomis, a bit more explaining certain things. But because I'm the Thorn timeline, all it 1, 2, 4, 5. That's my stuff. That's my favorite timeline. But it's one of those movies that you love and you just hate people hating it so much. Like, not.
You hate people hating it.
Like,
damn it.
It's one of those pet peeves where I like if someone doesn't like a movie, I'm like, well, is there anything you like about it? Like any sort of thing whatsoever? And most of them are just like, nope, terrible, worst movie I've ever seen. I'm a fan, and I'm like, hey, you, shut the fuck up. But yeah, I think this movie deserves another chance for a lot of people. It's just fun. That's all I can say. It's dark as hell. It's not perfect, specifically the theatrical version's editing. Like every time Michael stabs someone, like Halloween 6. Okay.
Yeah, I do think Michael Myers was indeed very brutal in that, and the character itself wasn't done too bad. I usually rate the Halloween movies on like how they portray Myers, and George P. Wilbur did a good job once again. Just like in Part 4, and the mask looked a lot better than the one in Part 5. So I think the character was fine. It just most of the stuff around him I didn't care for. Like the movie was kind of a little too convoluted, and it was kind of a mess. Like you said, the theatrical version was poorly edited, and I don't like in the producer's cut how he raped his own niece and impregnated her. That's just sick. Michael Myers does not rape people, especially people that are related to him. That's just wrong. It's just disgusting. And the druids and like the fact that he's being controlled by a cult and being defeated by stones on the floor, and then even though it turns out to be Dr. Wynn, and then Dr. Loomis having the thorn tattoo appearing on his wrist, like that's in a Halloween movie, really? Like, I don't like the Curse of Thorns stuff. But like you said, there is a lot to like about Curse of Michael Myers. I like the Halloween this season, the atmosphere. It has great suspense, great kills. Michael Myers is very brutal. I like Paul Rudd as Tommy Doyle. There's a lot to like about it, but it's kind of middle of the road to me when I'm ranking the franchise. It's kind of just more mediocre, like I'm in the middle. It's not one of the worst, but it's not one of the best.
Yeah, I think my final point to make on the movie is between these two. The producer's cut shows Michael fully being controlled by Cole.
Yeah.
The theatrical version, he's like, you're not going to control me, so I'm going to come in here and just slaughter you all.
Yes, exactly. I like that about the theatrical version.
I like Paul Rudd too, because I think his acting is so funny in some scenes. Like when he's like in the hospital and he's like,
yeah, the producer's cut probably does flow better, and there's more of Loomis, but there's just things I really don't care for in it. So I actually am one of the very few, I know I'm in the minority, I actually prefer the theatrical. Like I said, it's probably more of a mess, but it doesn't have some of the stupid crap in it that the producer's cut has. Michael Myers being Uncle Daddy being the main thing that I can't stand.
So I was a late bloomer to this one because I was one of those people like horror fan. He said that this movie sucks because when I first saw it, I hated it.
Me too.
Being a hardcore fan, I was like, "What is this shit? This is a mess. This is ridiculous." And then over time, I gave it a second chance, and I do enjoy it now. And it's interesting seeing the producer's cut and the theatrical cut and all the differences. I actually do prefer the producer's cut personally. Yeah, there is some wonky shit to it, but I feel like it makes more sense because
It does.
Like you said, less of a mess, less convoluted. The storyline makes more sense in the producer's cut to me, and that's what I like about it. But my big problem with the film is the acting. I think is some of the worst in the series. But outside of that, like you said, the atmosphere is great, and Michael's brutal. Some great kills in there. Yeah, so I do enjoy it. I do have some problems with it, but I have come to enjoy it.
It has grown on me a little over the years, for sure. Like I said, it's kind of like in the middle, like when I rank them.
I mean, compared to Resurrection, it's a freaking masterpiece.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I think it would be interesting to see like a cut of the film, both cuts of the film, kind of implementing their best.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that. Yeah, I would like.
Yeah,
to
it needs
see
to be like
that.
an ultimate cut that takes out all the crap from the producer's cut, but makes it flow better. Like the producer's cut.
Like leaving all the Dr. Loomis stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, for anyone watching, I'm not like that. Don't like the movie, I'm not going to tell you fuck you. I'm not.
What's up, James?
Oh yeah, James Moss is in the chat. How's it going, James?
So,
very possible.
Cool. Yeah, you might be right. I don't know. I'm not really much of a football guy, but I definitely respect it.
I'd like to see the Chiefs win it. Who's doing the halftime,
Mm-hmm. The halftime, I think it was going to be Lizzo, but then I think they dropped her for some reason or something. I don't know. It's always like some like pop star or something.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if they had, Cannibal Corpse play at the show.
Hell yeah.
But that'll probably never happen. So anyways, is it my turn?
That happening.
Yeah, probably not. All right, so my next one's going to be Tales from the Crypt presents Bordello of Blood. Now, I agree with a lot of the criticisms this movie gets. It's definitely not as good as Demon Knight. I think Demon Knight was done a lot better. But I still love this movie. I think it's a freaking blast. It's, it's just like the show. It's funny. It's just enjoyable. It's not to be taken too seriously, There's a lot of problems with it for sure. But Dennis Miller, I think, is really fun to watch. It's really over the top and hilarious. I mean, we got Dennis Miller and freaking Chris Sarandon killing vampire strippers and with super soakers filled with holy water. I mean, how can you go wrong? Well, the song Ballroom Blitz plays, no less. I mean, how can you not just enjoy that, a lot of great moments like that. There's a lot of stupid stuff in it too. But overall, I think it's a blast. I think it's a very enjoyable movie, it probably is more of like a so bad it's good guilty pleasure type of thing. It's not great. And I do think Demon Knight is a lot better. But yeah, I think it's very unfairly maligned. A lot of people hate on this. It's a lot better than Ritual, which was the third Tales from the Crypt movie that hardly anybody knows about. But
I don't even know that one.
Yeah, that one sucked. That's the one that sucks. This one's a lot of fun. And of course the Crypt Keeper segments are always funny. I just think it's a really, really highly amusing flick. So, obviously not a masterpiece, far from it, but it's, it's very entertaining.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. It's stupid as hell, but it's a blast. I'm never bored when I watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what a good guilty pleasure will do.
Indeed.
My next one should be interesting to you guys. Friday the 13th, the original Friday 13th from 1980. is a film that, I just can't understand why people don't love this movie. to me, this is a slasher classic. I freaking love this movie. I know a lot of it has to do with the Jason. Oh, Jason's not the killer, much like 5, how people have issues with 5. But man, the atmosphere in this movie is fantastic. Especially like when I was watching this 4K, I was like, oh, this looks great, like the scenes where the dark and the rain, and there's so many great shots in this movie that are creepy and suspenseful, and you don't see that in the series, after say part 2, like things get campy and more, about just the kills and Jason being unstoppable. Here it's straight up horror, it's straight up slasher, and yeah, I love it. I love Pamela Voorhees is fantastic. I love her performance. I think it's such a cool. I like the story. I love it. I love the setting and the camp. Yeah, this is one of my favorite slasher movies, and yes, it is my favorite. I don't be putting it at the bottom of the. This goes at the top for me.
Nice.
So yeah, I love the original.
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't realize people dislike that movie.
I've seen it.
I've seen some.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen some hate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
I've
said,
seen
when
it.
everyone does a ranking, where is the original? Like the bottom 2 or
Yeah,
3 always. Nobody puts it up on the top, and that's where I think it should be.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
that's,
think
it's my opinion.
Well, I think that the original is technically it's not exactly my personal favorite of the series, but I think it's technically the best. It's technically the most it's the scariest. It's the most suspenseful. It has some great kills too, for sure. Some of the best in the entire series.
Yeah.
Great atmosphere too. It's a whodunit. You don't know who the killer is until the end. I mean, everybody knows now, but nobody did when they first watched it. Yeah, I love it. It's a great movie. And yeah, it doesn't bother me that Jason's not the killer. I think that makes the series interesting that he wasn't the killer in the original. I think that makes it kind of unique.
And I think it sets up, the lore of Jason well,
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love the original. I think it's a classic. And like I said, I think it's technically the best in the series.
Yep. And
I love, and that is my favorite kind of style of slasher, the whodunit, like the old Jallows and the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
I mean, also, come on, it has one of the greatest jump scares in cinematic history at the end with the.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that was so iconic.
Classic.
I didn't see that coming when I first saw it.
It lures you in with the calming music and the nice.
Yeah.
It's so
well done.
I love that.
But then,
yeah.
Like, oh, everything's so beautiful and wonderful. She made it.
And it is something that the sequels could not recreate, like with part 3 with the
They tried.
Oh yeah, with the
they tried and failed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
cool. Yeah, I was just reading that the other day. Secret Wars. I just got a couple issues of that.
Yeah. Now, this next one, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie, but it has one massive disadvantage that really brings the movie down for people. The Thing,
2011, I guess.
Yeah.
I think, does this come close to Carpenter's? No. Let's get that out right now. But the thing that ruins this movie for so many people is the effects. The scene.
Yeah.
And what pisses me off is that I've seen behind the scenes photos and them actually using practical effects, and it looked pretty good, but they slapped CGI all over it and ruined it. I think, as far if you have not seen this movie, spoilers, please. This movie does a great job at setting up Carpenter's film, like the way it leads into everything without flat out hey, check that out. Someone has an axe and they smash it into a door. you know that's the axe that Kurt Russell's R.J. McCready looks at, and then
cool.
I think he has a lot of great stuff, and is fairly, it's not loved by a lot of people. It's hated. I'd say give it another chance if you haven't seen it in a while, or if you haven't seen it at all. Like I said, not perfect, but as far as like watching it, at least if you watch it as a feed, watch this first and then go into Carpenter's, at least you're ending with a better movie. You get to watch Carpenter's after. Yeah, The Thing. I think it's unfairly hated, but I get why it's not liked.
I like that it had some practical effects in it, but there was CGI too, which I guess they have to do. But I like that it did have some practical effects.
Yeah,
at least I'm pretty sure it did.
It does set up the original movie pretty well, in pretty good detail.
Yeah,
and because when you watch that beginning scene, and when they're searching that, and they find the other scientists all frozen, you're like, what happened here? And that explains everything.
The title is stupid. It's a prequel to a movie called The Thing. It was just called The Thing. Like, why'd they start doing
that? Could have came up with something better than.
Yeah, quit giving sequels and prequels the same title as the original. It's dumb. So lazy.
Yeah.
I really think that, giving it the subtitle like Returns or Revenge or Curse or whatever, that's probably cheesy, but it's better than not giving it a title at all.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, I think one aspect I've always been a little mixed on about that whole the Carpenter's version is that when you watch the John Carpenter's The Thing, it's crazy to see like the two-headed twisted thing. Like that thing is morphed, and you kind of want to leave it to your imagination of like, what the hell happened? So you see it in the prequel, and you're like, yeah, that's cool. But also it's like, yeah, but I kind of like making my own, like, what the hell?
The mystery of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes prequels are not necessary. You want to leave some mystery to it. Like,
I
for
agree.
example, the original Alien, there's some stuff you're like, oh, what happened here? What is that? Like when they go on the ship and they see the big, huge alien sub, like what is that? It makes you think. But then, of course, they had to do the prequel to find out who they were and what that was.
Yeah, it kind of takes away the mystery. I'd rather see a prequel than a remake. I think prequels are kind of interesting because they're telling the story from the beginning. It's like before the main event. It's kind of.
It can be, if done right.
Yeah, but it does take away the mystery a lot of times. Like just look at the Star Wars prequels. It's like if you watch them and the order and they take place, it's like you're robbed of the. If you're not familiar enough with it, you're robbed of the whole Vader being Luke's father thing. I mean, everybody knows that now, but theoretically, if somebody didn't, if they watch them on order, it's like, oh, well, okay, big shock. I already knew that because I watched, Revenge of the Sith before, Empire. So, takes away the mystery. But it's kind of cool to see the origins of certain characters and stuff in prequels. All right, so my next one's going to be Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. That's right. I had to have this on the list. All right, so the only criticisms I ever hear of this movie, and I'm so sick of hearing them, is not enough time takes place in Manhattan and Jason teleports. That's it. Every bad review just mentions those two things, and they fixate on them. Okay, yeah, it is a huge bummer that Jason isn't in the big city more. But, I like the scenes on the boat. At least they did something different. At least it's not at the camp yet again. They didn't make the same movie over and over. All the movies that are hated in this franchise are the ones that did something different. So it leads me to think that, a lot of fans really are kind of shallow and just want to see the same thing done over and over and over exactly the same way with nothing new. I thought it was a refreshing take to put him in a different atmosphere and a different environment. I like the scenes on the boat. And when he finally does get to the city, it's well worth the wait. They milk it for all it's worth. The scenes of the city are awesome. I know a lot of it was filmed in Vancouver and not Manhattan, but Manhattan shines through. He's in the Big Apple, it shows the Statue of Liberty, he's in the subway, he's in a diner, he's on top of buildings. They milk it for all it's worth, and it's really cool seeing Jason in the city. I love the scene where he kicks the radio, and they're like, "You're dead meat, slime ball," and he lifts his mask up, and they like, "It's cool, man." He run away. That's one of my favorite moments in the entire series. And also when he sees the billboard of the hockey player, the hockey mask, he's like, "Huh?" Yeah, so many great moments. It's not one of the best entries for sure. And, people say, "Oh, it's a bad movie." A lot of the Friday the 13th movies are technically bad. They're not Shakespeare. They're not supposed to be, but they're fun. And this one's no exception. This one's very fun. It's very 80s. It's very cheesy. Yeah. It is flawed. It is technically one of the weaker entries, but I still love it. It's a blast. And yeah, Jason teleports, I guess. There's only really 2 or 3 times in the movie where it looks like that. And yeah, it's silly, but I just pretend that he runs really fast off camera and you don't see it. And the things, there's a lot of silly stuff in this series. Why is this one always singled out for it? Why is this one always bashed for silly stuff? There's silly stuff in the whole series. A lot of them have part 6, which is usually really heavily revered. It's very well respected, and I agree. That's one of my favorites. There's a lot of silly stuff in that one too, but why do people bash this one? Yeah, I love this movie. It's a blast. Kane Hodder did great as always. There's problems for sure. There's a lot of things wrong with it, but I mean, I think there's more good than bad. One of my main problems is when Jason's unmasked, the design doesn't look very good, especially since part 7, he looked amazing. Like that was one of the coolest movies ever. Yeah, that makeup job was amazing, and this one not so much. But I just kind of pretend that the toxic waste that got thrown into his face did it. Even though it was on the mask, but whatever. And also, the way they kill him in a very definitive way with the toxic waste was cool. It's just really stupid that he turns into a young boy. But I think that was just one of Rennie's visions, hopefully. There's a lot of stupid crap in it, but I think it's still a lot of fun. And yeah, it's bad. It's a guilty pleasure, but it's freaking awesome.
It is definitely in the guilty pleasure area for me. Yeah, it is a fun watch for sure.
Yeah, I wish more of it was in New York, but they didn't have the budget for it. They couldn't do it. It wasn't their fault. And like I said, when it does get to New York, it's well worth the wait.
Right. I love what they do with it when they get there.
Me too. Yeah, the build up, the anticipation.
Cool seeing them on the subway and stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome seeing them in a different environment, especially the big city, which is like the polar opposite of, the wilderness. So the camp.
I love when he goes to the bar, like smashes the door, smashes the door in.
Throws the guy against the mirror. That was Ken Kurzinger too.
Right,
Jason and Freddy versus Jason. Kane Hodder probably loves that scene.
Probably.
Yeah, I have no problem saying that. I enjoy every entry in the Friday. I like them all. I don't hate really any of them.
I agree.
Even Jason Goes to Hell. I like that movie. It's brutal.
I agree.
I hate that one.
It's very flawed. It's very flawed.
There's 2 that I straight up hate. That and Jason X, I'll be honest.
I can understand that. I used to hate them too, but they've grown on me.
Like at least Jason Takes Manhattan is fun, but Jason X to me is just way over the top,
Yeah, I agree.
It's like a comedy. It's just ridiculous. Like I can't.
It is my least favorite of the first of the original series, but I still find it enjoyable enough. It's very stupid with some bad acting and the silly premise, but I don't hate any of them. I think they're all there's some weaker ones, but I think they're all they have something of value. But I don't hold the Friday the 13th series to as high of a standard as I do say the Halloween franchise in the first place. I think Halloween is way more classy and more sophisticated all around. Friday the 13th is more of a guilty pleasure, more of a cheap thrill. Halloween, at its best, is like a steak dinner, whereas Friday the 13th is fast food, really good fast food. You want to go back to a lot. It's delicious, but
it's like McDonald's when the fries are nice and hot when they just made them, and you're like,
It's crap, but it's good crap. Hey, Drum Smash is in the chat. How's it going, Drum Smash?
So,
It's all good.
Honestly,
you're
I
not
do
that
hold some of them in high regard.
Yeah.
Other ones, not so much.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, there are definitely some weaker ones. Yeah, James, facsimiles. I prefer the originals. I do have a few reprints, but I think I like the original printings better than the facsimile reprints. Just to answer your question.
What's up, Drum Smash? Oh, well, next one is a huge one for me. Texas Chainsaw 2, baby.
Yep. I
This
wholeheartedly
gets a
agree.
lot of hate, especially in recent years. And it drives me nuts. I'm like Horror Fan he was saying before with one of his picks. Like, I get mad when people knock it, what's wrong with you, Like, this is so much fun, and I love the fact that they did something different with it and added a little more human to it, because you're not gonna beat the original when it comes to grim and grimy and sick, So this went kind of a little bit of a different route, but at the same time, it does follow the original film. At least it has some continuity, where a lot of the when it comes to this series, does not have a lot of great continuity. Amazing characters. I love you got Jim Cito back as the cook. He's amazing. I love Caroline Williams as Stretch. She's a great character. One of my favorite final girls. I love Dennis Hopper's over the top, crazy performance. It's so much fun. How can you not have fun watching this movie? And I mean, seeing them have the big chainsaw battle at the end, Dennis Hopper with the chainsaws like he has in a holster and stuff. It's so funny, but there are some really sick moments too, like when Leatherface cuts the guy's face off and holds it up. Like, this is sick. And there's much more gore in the second film, of course, and great effects work by Tom Savini. I love how he set up the whole like underground layer with the bones. It almost like works of art and stuff, and people never seem to acknowledge that. Like, he does some great work in this, and the look of Leatherface mask is sick. Also think the guy who plays Leatherface gets a lot of hate too, which I like this version of him. It's almost like almost kind of a Frankenstein's monster kind of thing going on, a little bit more misunderstood.
Yeah, Bill Johnson was good.
I thought his relationship with Stretch was kind of interesting. I was like, wow, he's trying to get a little girlfriend, Bubba's got a girlfriend. And of course, Bill Moseley's, phenomenal as Chop Top. What a great character. Yeah, love this movie. Don't get the hate. I always loved it. I'll always defend it.
Me too. 1-2 is in the chat. How's it going, 1-2?
So,
oh wait, did I already say that? Somebody's in the chat that I didn't announce yet.
I'm the Lord of the Harvest.
Never mind. Anyway, I wholeheartedly agree. I always love that movie. It's a blast. It takes a totally different direction from the first movie, but I respect it for that. It doesn't just try to mimic the original. It doesn't rehash the first movie. I guess it just comes down to if you like horror comedies or not. I personally love them. I think they're a blast when they're done well. And Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 is no exception. It's way more over the top. It's a lot gorier, more gruesome than the first movie. It's definitely a lot different. Like you said, it's the only single continuity. Pretty much every other movie in the whole franchise is a remake, essentially. I like that it's an actual sequel and actually follows the original. Jim Cito returns as Drayton, the cook. It's great to see him again. Lefty, played by Dennis Hopper, is such a badass. He's a very memorable protagonist. Caroline Williams is great. Bill Johnson's a great Leatherface. Not as good as Gunnar Hansen, but he pretty close. And Bill Moseley's always great. He's always a blast to watch. I think the movie's just very, very fun, very amusing. I love the setting and the underground, their underground layer with all the bones. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And this would have made my list, but I think I included this in our underrated movies stream. So, and also I knew that you were gonna choose it, so I left it off just so we'd have more variety.
Yes, I gave that away.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted us to have more different movies to talk about, so I knew you were gonna choose it, and I was gonna talk about it. Yeah, I think it's absolute blast. It has some problems, but I'll never understand why it's so hated. Because I always loved it. I always thought it was very, very, very fun movie.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Jump Smash. I met Andrew Broniarski, who played him in the 2003 remake and its prequel, The Beginning. Yeah, he was a really cool guy.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. One of the things that always just really is that, okay, I started YouTube back in 2013. And back then, the little circle I had, everyone kind of loved Texas Chainsaw 2. Every time you saw a review, you're like, yeah, it's a great sequel. These days, everyone's like, this is a horrible sequel. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I know, what the hell?
But yeah, I love this film, and I think that would be a great days if we just did a movie commentary and just watch.
Yeah, I know, right?
To me, it's up there with the most quotable horror movie ever. You got so much great stuff.
Absolutely.
Burn her like a rat. Burn her.
Dog will hunt.
Are you really, really good?
Lick my plate, you dog dick.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it all down. So many
It's
great
endlessly quotable.
Yeah. I love it so much.
Oh, my Kipperzana.
Yeah, I remember always arguing with some of our fellow horror YouTubers about that movie. If you don't like it, then I don't, that's fine. By all means, hate it all you want. I just, I don't care. I just don't agree. And you're not gonna convince me otherwise. I love it. You're not gonna, talk me into hating it. So why bother?
Yeah. The tide has tables have turned because these days part 2 is hated, but I'm saying more love and appreciation for the next generation.
Oh gosh,
we need to turn that back around.
Yeah, because at least Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, it feels like a spoof. It feels like a parody, but at least it's still a horror movie. Albeit a horror comedy. It's still gruesome and horrifying and gory and a blast. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation is just silly and just goofy and just stupid and overly campy and ridiculous. Nobody even dies by a chainsaw, and it's it's so tame, and it's just all the characters make stupid decisions and don't act realistic at all, and they're involved with Illuminati and aliens maybe, and they're not even cannibals, but whatever. I've already gone on plenty of rants about how much I hate that movie, so I'll just move on.
Still fun to watch. You rant about it. That's more entertaining than the movie.
I would hope so.
The last thing I'll say about that is Next Generation feels like the spoof era movies, like Scary Movie is to Scream or something else. It feels like a parody movie that's parodying Texas Chainsaw in a horrible way.
Right,
I know.
right.
Like a bad an incredibly bad remake of the original.
Very bad. Very, very bad. It's probably my most hated horror sequel. We're out there with Creepshow 3 and Return to Sleepaway Camp and most of the Howling sequels. Jose Gomez in the chat. How's it going, Jose?
Good.
Oh, cool, man. I almost met Bill Moseley. I was going to go to this con.
Yeah, I have his on
October. Nice. Yeah, I was going to go to this con in October. Yeah, Bill Moseley was there. Jeffrey Combs was there. Chris Sarandon was there. Tony Todd was there.
Nice.
But there's way too many celebrities that I wanted to get autographs of and pictures with. I just didn't have enough money at the time. And then there's something else going on at the same time. So I just opted to not go. Hopefully I'll get another chance though, because I would love to meet Bill Moseley. That would be great.
He even did some of the chop top for me. I was blown away. I was like, holy shit, that was awesome.
That's awesome.
He did. I forget what he said. He said, get that bitch, Leatherface, get that bitch. He did the chop top voice.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Gotta buy me a new plate cover, Leatherface.
So
Never gets it.
Yeah, my next one is actually the first one that Sean and I have on the same of both of our lists, and that is Nightmare 2: Freddy's Revenge.
Nice.
I couldn't do a list and not put this one on because this is one of my favorite nightmares. And I pretty much agree with everything you guys said. My favorite version of Freddy, how they made him look more like a pale witch this time around with the red and yellow eyes, perfection. Um, it's so weird how drastic he would go from this evil to sunglasses. Like
I the power glove.
I like evil Freddy and I like funny Freddy, but when Freddy is evil, it's a different type of evil. I like it.
Yeah.
I like the character of Jesse. I think his scream is hilarious.
He had great lungs.
Yeah. This movie doesn't have a whole lot of nightmare sequences really, other than the opening. And, I got the body, you got the, or whatever. That type thing. The bus scene, I love. I think that's a perfect nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
Feeling of being trapped and him slowly approaching perfection. My favorite shot of Freddy ever is right after he does the "You are all my children now," and the dad grill and the flames come up and you see Freddy snarl behind the fire.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
That is my favorite shot of Freddy ever. Yeah. I just love this movie. I think it's severely underrated, overhated. Of course, like you said, these days it has much more of a cult following. But yeah. Nightmare 2. We've already went into it mostly, so it's on the list. I love it.
Yeah, Nightmare 2 would probably be in my top 5. I mean, I guess it would have to be because I love 1 and 3. 1 and 3 are my favorites. I really like Freddy versus Jason a lot too, honestly. But then, I think those are probably my top 3, weirdly enough. And then, I kind of like 2 and 4, both the same in different ways. I know both of them have a lot of problems, but I kind of enjoy both of them. But then I don't like 5. I really don't like 6. I like New Nightmare. I don't think it's quite as great as everybody says, but I do like it. So yeah, part 2 would have to be like in my top, probably to be like my 4th favorite, I guess. Probably. And the remake sucks. So that's the worst of the worst. That's the bottom of the barrel. I'd rather watch Freddy's Dead 100 times than watch 5 seconds of that piece of crap. But yeah, Nightmare 2 I think is a lot better than everybody says.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've already got into that. So.
I agree.
And so I got some honorable mentions. Yeah, Nightmare 2 was one of them. That we honorable mentioned, but yeah, we already talked about that. And also Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 was my honorable mentions. We already discussed that one as well. So now here's one of the most divisive, most controversial movies, horror movies. Jason Goes to Hell. Now this one didn't make my actual list because I agree with all the criticisms. I agree. It is a bad movie. It's definitely one of the weaker in the series. This and Jason X are definitely the worst. I hated this movie when I first saw it. I was like, what the hell is going on? This has nothing to do with Friday the 13th. I was like, how is this even a Jason movie? This is ridiculous. But it's really grown on me over the years, and I do think there's a lot to like about it. There's still a lot to dislike. Don't get me wrong. I'll get to that in a minute. But it has great gore, great special effects, great kills. I like that they kind of did something different. It was a little too different, yeah, but I like that there was different. It wasn't just camp counselors at the camp yet again. There were scenes in the diner and scenes in the town, scenes in the police department and stuff. I like that. I like the characters okay too. Creighton Duke was great. He was an awesome character. I wish we could have saw a little more of him and had more of a backstory. Even the Jason possessing people, which I used to despise, that's kind of grown on me a little bit. I wish they did it a little differently, though. I don't like the fact that he's a demonic worm that goes into different bodies. That's stupid. There's a lot of stupid crap in it for sure. The demonic worm thing, the fact that he has a sister now and a niece, and only somebody related to him can kill him, and He can only be reborn if he goes into their body, and then the mystical dagger. And what is all this crap? Why is all this going on? Like, what does this have to do with Friday 13th? Why'd they change it this much? Yeah, there's a lot of stupid crap in it that I can't stand for sure. But Jason has such a cool look. It's sad that we don't see very much of it because he's in different people's bodies. But he's very brutal, has some great kills. Like I said, I don't know. I think it's very entertaining. I'd probably rate it like maybe when I first saw it, it was like I gave it like a 3 out of 10. Now I'd probably rate it like maybe a 7, really maybe more of a 6.5. It's very flawed. It's definitely a bad movie. It's definitely one of the weaker ones for sure. I totally agree with all the criticisms. I can totally understand hating this movie. I can't understand people hating Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. And I totally understand people hating Jason Goes to Hell. It's perfectly valid in my opinion. But it's just grown on me over the years. Plus, the director, Adam Marcus, is a really, really cool guy. He wishes me a happy birthday on Facebook every year. He's just freaking awesome. And he's like owned up to a lot of the, I guess, mistakes you could say that he made with this movie. But he still kind of defends it and still stands by it, which is cool. He's just a very, very cool guy. And he was really young when he wrote and directed this one. But yeah, there's a lot of crap. There's a lot of stuff to hate, but I think there's a lot of good stuff too. It's very middle of the road, but especially the unrated version, I think is actually pretty enjoyable if you give it a chance and have the right mindset. Just kind of forget that it's just keep in mind that it's not your typical Friday 13th movie. It just does something very different. Maybe a little too much, but
I don't think I've seen the unrated version.
Yeah. Oh, it's much better.
Yeah.
Definitely a bad movie, but I think it's enjoyably bad for the most part. Though, like I said, I totally agree with all the criticisms. I totally can understand the hate that it gets. Honorable mentions. Yeah. Also, Seed at Chucky. I'll try to keep this a little shorter. So. People hate this movie just because it's a straight up comedy. This is the weakest in the Chucky franchise. I agree, but I still like it. I think it's still very, very entertaining. It wasn't advertised as being a straight up horror movie. It's not like they said, "Oh, this is the scariest one since the original." No, it was supposed to be a comedy, and it does that very well. It's hilarious. This movie is freaking very, very funny. There's a lot of Easter eggs and like things that horror fans will find funny. It's not perfect. It has some flaws for sure. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. There's a lot of stupid crap in it. There's a lot of weird choices. Some of the jokes don't work. The Hollywood setting could have been milked a little more. It has some flaws, and it is the weakest in the Chucky series. I agree, but I still enjoy it, and I think it's a blast. It's very, very entertaining. It's really funny. It's one of the best horror comedies I've seen. I'm glad they went back to the more serious, more scary roots with the next one, Curse of Chucky. But I'm so glad this movie exists because it was a blast seeing this in the theater. It was some of the most fun I ever had watching a movie at the theater. Though I definitely agree that it does some serious flaws.
At least it does know what it is and never
at
any point attempts to be in a serious
right.
horror movie.
It's not ashamed to be what it is. It embraces that how over the top. Plus, it's the goriest, so there's that. Then my last honorable mention before I get to my number one choice is Halloween Kills. I really like this movie a lot. I don't know why so many people bash it. I guess I do prefer Halloween 2018 a little bit, but this one I find more enjoyable in a lot of ways. I like how there's so many returning characters like Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace and
that is cool.
Sheriff Brackett, who was also in and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's just a nostalgia fest." Okay, so what? What's wrong with that? Bring on the nostalgia. I'm a nostalgia junkie, so I don't care. That's perfectly fine with me. What's wrong with reliving good memories? Yeah, I loved it. I love how brutal Michael Myers was in this. He was like the Terminator.
Yeah.
It's a shame that in the next one, Halloween Ends, he was so like depowered, but whatever. That's another story. I really like this one. I love the ending. I love how, spoiler alert, I like how Michael Myers kind of won in the end. That was cool. I call it overpowered everybody. There's a few things I didn't care for, but overall, I thought this was a very enjoyable flick. I liked it a whole lot.
It's my favorite of the three.
Yeah, I can definitely see why. I think it's probably the one that when I have a marathon of the three, that's kind of the one I look forward to watching the most. It has some of my favorite moments.
Out of the three, it's the balls out, straight up slasher movie through and through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, I think it's awesome. All right, the number one most misunderstood horror movie, in my opinion, is Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. Yeah, there's a lot of Jason on my list. Like I said, I like all of them to varying degrees, even the bad ones. And yeah, like Jason Takes Manhattan, there's only like one real criticism I hear. That's that Jason isn't the killer. A lot of people hate this movie because he's not the killer. And yeah, that is a drag. It used to really bother me too. When I first saw it, I was very disappointed. It does suck that he's not the killer. But with Jason Goes to Hell, I just kind of pretend like Jason possessed Roy in this movie. He has the ability to possess people, so why not? He possessed Roy. So there, it fixes the movie. But, aside from that, it has some great characters, some great kills. It's one of the most entertaining movies in the whole franchise. It's not as good as the first four. It's not as good as Part 6. I guess it technically is one of the weaker ones, but it's very, very entertaining, very fun. Great characters, some really funny moments, some great kills. Like I said, very memorable scenes. I like John Shepard's Tommy, how he's like really tortured and traumatized by his past with Jason. It does make it more of a bummer that it's not actually Jason that he's facing. The scene where they come face to face and they're looking at each other. It's like, well, really, they don't even know each other. That kind of lessens the impact. But aside from that flaw, this is a very, very fun movie. Very entertaining. It's one of the most amusing in the whole series. It's so 80s. Great soundtrack, too. Yeah, very memorable characters. Some of those memorable in the whole series.
Yeah,
very, very fun flick. Though, like I said, it is flawed. But I think it definitely doesn't deserve the hate it gets.
Not at all.
Good pick. I love that movie.
I think it's definitely one of the most fun of the franchise. Like you said, I love the characters. That's what makes it for me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean Ethel and
they're hilarious.
The girl who dances, does the crazy dance. What was her name? Tina or something.
Helm is Violet. Yeah, she was great.
Violet, yeah.
Yeah, goth girls are the best.
The dude with the chocolate bar, he just axes them. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming when I first watched it. Like, what the heck is going on? That was like the first time we saw somebody killed by someone other than Jason or his mother, pretty much.
Yeah. And it's not that Jason not being the killer bothers me. It's the way they handled that part of it. I thought was pretty bad. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Like the reveal and the lead up to it was not good.
Yeah,
they could have did a lot more with that. But outside of that, I love the characters, which is one of the things I didn't really like about 4, which I know a lot of people like. A lot of people love 4 and put it like high up on their list. But I didn't like the characters in 4. I liked the characters in 5.
Yeah, I think I probably do like the characters in 5 better than 4. In 4, I do like Crispin Glover's character, and I like his friend Teddy, and then I can see where they'd be kind of annoying. I guess I like Tommy, played by Corey Feldman. Back when he was really cool.
Yeah.
I think I like
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I like the characters in 5 better than 4, most likely. Though I think 4 is a better movie.
So what's your actual pick? Was that it? That was your number one? Oh, okay, I thought that was an honorable mention, but that's your number one?
Yeah, that's my number one most misunderstood horror movie.
Great pick.
Thank you.
Oh, for me, it's number 1 of all time is Halloween 5. Certainly one of the most hated in the franchise, without a doubt. And yeah, I'm not gonna say it's a perfect movie, but there's a lot of cool stuff in here that people just overlook. They just look past. I'm like, man, there's some cool stuff in here, which I had a stream there with Horror Fan 88 when we talked all about that. But just to name a few things, I loved Dr. Loomis. I like how he's so like he's just lost, that he's completely off the rails, and I kind of like that because everything that he's gone through, the history of Michael has led up to this, and he's just had it, and I kind of like that. I know people don't like that. um, and another thing that bothers people about it is Jamie. She's mute at the beginning, and a lot of people, of course, wanted them to continue from part 4 with her being the killer, or at least being Michael's sidekick or something. But I like the way they handled it. To me, it made sense, and that she was traumatized by what Michael had done to her, how he kind of possessed her, kind of, and drove her to try and kill her stepmother there.
Yeah.
And I like that part of it. So a lot of things people hate, I actually like, but but I'll tell you the things that I think are really cool is Michael himself is good. I love Don Shanks. I thought did a really good job. And there's some thrilling scenes, like the chase scene at the end when he's trying to run over Jamie was very intense. The scene in the laundry chute, of course, very intense, very scary, very well done. I love it. I think it's got great Halloween atmosphere too, much like 6. And yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. I like the fact that Michael drives. They kind of brought that back from the original film, which is something I always liked about Michael. It's something so weird and mysterious. Like, how does he know how to drive? But
it makes him scarier, I think.
it's cool, one of the things that makes Michael stand out from like the other slasher villains,
Mm-hmm.
It's something cool and mysterious, and he does quite a bit in this one. And I know a lot of people hate Tina. I never really mind her that much. She's kind of hot. She may be a little bit annoying, but she has personality. She's kind of spunky,
Like how protective she was of Jamie and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, Halloween 5 for me is definitely the most misunderstood of.
I haven't heard about
that. Give it a chance. There's a lot of good stuff in there. May not be. There may be some bad stuff, but there's a lot of good in there that nobody wants to acknowledge.
That's what I say about Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that Drum Smash Halloween 4 Part 2. Interesting. Danielle Harris and Ellie Cornell. Man, that'd be awesome.
I heard something about it. That
cool.
They pitched the director Dwight Little kind of pitched the idea, but I don't see it ever happening. But you never know.
Probably not.
Maybe in the series, the supposed series that's gonna go on.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That'd be cool if it
That'd
happened.
Be the place for it, I think.
Right. Well, about Halloween 5, a lot of people bash it. Guilty as charged. I don't hate it. I wouldn't even really say I dislike it. I do think it's one of the weaker ones that has a lot of problems, but there is, like you said, there's a lot to like about it. Yeah, definitely the laundry chute scene is very suspenseful. That stalking scene, Donald Pleasance is always great. I like how obsessed and determined that he's grown as a character through the series. I don't mind that Jamie wasn't the killer. I wouldn't really want to see a movie with her as the main killer without Michael Myers, or even as his sidekick. I think that'd be kind of dumb, honestly. I didn't really care for the fact that she was silent and mute throughout most of it. I don't like the psychic link she has with him. I thought that was silly. I don't like. I think it has probably the worst mask of the whole series, quite possibly. I thought Don Shanks was decent. Yeah, Tina is very annoying, but I don't think she's quite as bad as everybody makes her out to be. But yeah, it's not a terrible movie. There's definitely a lot of redeeming qualities. I think it isn't one of my favorites. Not even close. But I definitely don't think it's as bad as everybody says. And then there's definitely a lot of qualities to like about it. I hate those two bumbling cops with the.
Everybody hates that.
The clown sound effects.
I hate that.
I hate most of the teenagers that are really annoying, like the one wearing the mask. He's like, oh, he says, it's just great.
Yeah,
it's just so
yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, but I do like the scene in the barn though when Michael Myers is like killing them like with a pitchfork and stuff like that, going after him.
And that had some
cool.
good suspense in there.
Yeah, it did.
In
Yeah,
the barn
like
when he's kind of creeping in the shadows in the back. Good stuff.
Much like Friday 13th, 5 and 8, and Jason Goes to Hell. Halloween 5 has a lot of flaws, but there's definitely a lot to like about it. I think I should hate a movie so much I want to admit that there's redeeming qualities.
There's some nice
Halloween
kills in there too, like when he used the garden hook dude in the guy's head.
Yeah,
that's a great scene. When he scratches the guy's beautiful car.
Yeah. I also don't mind the Man in Black subplot. I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, it's obvious that they didn't really know what they were doing with it at the time. And I guess originally I read that it was going to be Michael Myers' twin brother, Kenneth Myers. I'm glad they didn't do that. That would have been stupid. Like, all of a sudden he has a brother now, too. Like, wow. I mean, it was already kind of a stretch that Laurie was his sister, but now he has a twin brother that we didn't know about. I'm glad they did away with that. But I didn't mind the Man in Black. I thought it was kind of annoying.
I was intrigued by it. Like, what's what's going on here?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Something different.
I was interested to see where it went. It was cool. He broke Michael Myers out at the end. I was like, wow, who is he? What's his connection? I didn't think it paid off very well in the next movie.
Probably should have, spent a little more time, developing it, but they did kind of rush it,
Yeah, it's clear they didn't really know what they were going to do with it, so they just kind of made it up as they went along. I think
if they took a little more time, I think it could have been really good.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely not as bad as everybody says. I agree.
Mm-hmm. A great pick. I really only have one major honorable mention, but I'll go ahead and say all the ones that you guys named that were not on my list would be honorable mention because they're all great.
Likewise.
My honorable mention, I'm going to be on an island with because no one's going to agree with me. And I'll see myself out after this one.
Oh.
Not saying this movie's perfect.
Hot take.
Yeah. Not a perfect film. Not a perfect film at all. But I'll say this. I'm one of the Halloween fans that likes seeing new and different things.
Yeah.
Halloween fans that are tired of just Laurie versus Michael over and over and over. Like, even when 2018 was announced, and I was like, oh, cool. And then they said Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back as Laurie. I was like, again? How many times are we Laurie versus Michael? Like, it just gets old. And while I still love the movies, I was like, Halloween ends. Like, they do things that are not cool, but there's a lot of cool stuff in it. I like Corey Cunningham's character. I did. I thought he was cool. Should they have introduced him in 2018 or Kills? Probably. Just to have that story go up from because, like, I get it. I understand that. Why do all these drastic different things in a final film of a trilogy? Like, that go nowhere just to completely do something weird with it. But I don't really care for the treatment of Michael. He is kind of pushed to the side.
Yeah.
Mask in the movie. I think it's cool with the mold and all that.
The mask is sick.
Yeah. The whole Corey Cunningham becoming Michael and putting the mask on. Even when Corey was Michael, I still felt like it was Michael Kimball because he still just had the slow walk and breathing and the. But yeah, and one thing, much like the Friday the 13th series, anytime a film in this franchise attempts to do something different, all the films in this franchise that try to be simple like the original, 1, 2, 4, H2O, 2018, they're all beloved by people. Any slightly different, worst movie ever. If you play a real thing.
Just like the Friday series, too. It did something different, so I hate it. Yes. Make the same movie again. Make the same movie 20 times. That's what I want.
And honestly, the reaction to this movie caused me to stop talking about Halloween for a long time.
You have to keep it all
like
locked inside.
the fan base can be pretty rabid at times. Like,
Oh God, yeah.
they're not the most understanding.
Halloween fans are some of the most hardcore
Yeah,
fan bases out there.
for sure.
Yeah. Like me saying to like this movie in a way is not me saying it's better than the original. Where, like, get the hell out of here with this. It takes me because when it comes to Halloween fans, and it's many fan bases, if you like something that is not liked by the majority, you're not a fan. You should have your fan card revoked, and you get Brett. Calm the fuck down.
You're not a real Halloween fan.
Yeah.
Like the reaction I saw some have who said they loved this movie, like their comment sections, I'm like, what the hell is with you people? Like, I get it. You didn't like the movie. Okay. That doesn't mean you have to fucking hate the person who likes it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, Halloween is honorable mention. It's not perfect. I'm saying it now. It's not a great movie, but there's things about it I kind of like. But
yeah, I was going to say real quick, I don't hate Halloween Ends either. I watched it twice, like back to back, just because I didn't know how I felt about it the first time I watched it. I don't really mind the idea of there being another killer, like in addition to Myers. Like, at least Myers is still in it, unlike Friday the 13th Part 5. I don't know how I feel about having like a protege and like, kind of training. I don't really know if that's what they're going for. And then, yeah, Corey Cunningham is very similar to Arnie from Christine. They have the same last name too, and Halloween Ends feels a lot like Christine. Just replace the car with Michael Myers. It's very similar. And they made some weird choices. I don't think that was a good idea for like the final installment, which was the end of the trilogy. I think this one should have been the middle, and Halloween Kills should have been the end or something. Like they could have like work that around. Yeah, Corey like just kind of comes out of nowhere and just takes over. Michael Myers only kills like 2 people, and he was so awesome in Halloween Kills, and this one Corey easily overpowers him and takes his mask and everything, and he moves kind of slowly and kind of clumsily. It's weird. It's like, what's going on? And then he only kills like 2 people. But I don't mind the fact there's another killer. I thought that was interesting. I like that it did something different. And yeah, when he had the Michael Myers mask, it felt like Michael Myers killing all those people, getting revenge of the people who were cool to him. I thought that was awesome. I love the finale with Michael Myers facing Laurie, the final confrontation. And they even kill Myers in a very definitive way. He's not going to come back from that. Jason would, but Michael Myers won't, But yeah, there's a lot to like about the movie. There's a lot of things I really didn't like, but there's a lot of things I liked too. I think it is kind of underrated, even though I do agree with a lot of the criticisms it gets. Definitely some weird choices there, but some of them were pretty satisfying.
I completely agree. I feel exactly the same way. I'm pretty much 50-50 on it. There is a lot of cool stuff. I like them bringing something different to it, and I like the stuff they did with Corey's character. I liked his story. But yeah, like I said, to bring that in and what's supposed to be the last entry, the final.
Yeah.
It should have been, he should have been introduced like in the 2018 and maybe slowly bring him in.
Yeah, have like a build up, like a gradual descent into insanity. It felt kind of forced and kind of rushed.
Yeah, exactly.
The movie's definitely a mixed bag,
right?
As it is, but yeah, I don't hate it. I don't think it's as bad as everybody says.
I personally do not like the idea of someone taking over the mantle of Michael. To me, there's only one Michael, and no one else is going to replace him.
Well, I'm glad they didn't.
But I like when they had him with the clown mask thing and kind of being his own. That was cool, and I liked the idea of him kind of having like training somebody, taking him under the wing. I thought that was pretty cool. That's that one scene that they have, but again, they don't do much with it.
Yeah.
It's just that one scene, really. But there's a few seriously cringe scenes, like like when Michael first kills that guy and he gets juiced up and he's like, oh, and he hulks up. I'm like, no, why is this happening? yeah, there is a lot of good stuff, and I certainly acknowledge that. It's like Halloween 5,
Yeah,
I will give it credit where it's due,
yeah. So I think we're all in agreement. There's some good things about it that we like, but it's not a perfect movie by whatsoever. But
But the look of Michael is awesome though. Like his uh, mask all burned and nasty. He looks dirty and like he's been living in the cave for years, and
yeah,
he looks rough, but he looks cool. But the way they use him, I didn't like.
yeah,
It's hard seeing him that vulnerable and that weak, and
yeah. One of my biggest pet peeves with this whole new trilogy is their insistent, constant wanting to take Michael's mask off all the time.
yeah,
Any chance they get, they're gonna take Michael's mask off. Like, why? I don't want to see his face.
yeah.
Man, my computer just froze, so I missed a lot of that. I don't know what's going on. I'm on my phone now.
Yeah, we were just talking about the ends mask.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool.
I was saying the look of Michael's really cool with
Yeah, it is.
the
Yeah, I'm
burnt
glad
look
that.
and dirty and grimy, and like he's been living in the cave for 4 years or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's also weird that Laurie.
Michael's got long hair like Halloween
Yeah,
2007.
Rob Zombie. Yeah. It's weird that in 2018, Laurie was a reclusive hermit, living in a house that was heavily guarded and had all the security, and it was even a trap, and she was so paranoid and had a bunch of guns, was survivalist, and while Michael Myers is locked up. And then in this movie, he's on the loose, he could come kill her at any time, and then he even killed her daughter, and then she's just out in the open, just baking pies and just living.
She's acting like it's all over, Dude's still out there.
Yeah, that makes no sense. They got it backwards.
He killed your daughter,
right?
Oh, yeah, just because it's 4 years ago, it doesn't sting anymore.
Yeah, they totally got it backwards. But yeah, I'm glad that Corey didn't.
That reverb. Lost the host.
I'm here.
That was double.
Sorry, I'm trying to get back on my laptop. Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was saying I'm glad that Corey didn't replace Michael Myers and become the new killer at the very end. That would have been stupid. Like they tried to do at the end of Friday 13th Part 5 with Tommy as the new Jason. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that. That would have been dumb.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think we all agree that Ends has some good stuff, but for the most part, it's not.
Most definitely.
Cinema. How's it going, Thimbo Cinema? Yeah, we're talking about Ends, and yeah, I agree. It is very uneven.
I actually love the end, and I thought that was ballsy, and I do applaud David Gordon Green for having the balls to take Michael out, And I thought I liked the way they did that, and the whole town gathering together to watch him die,
Yeah, I wanted them to kill
people
him
whose lives he's terrorized, and I love that.
I agree.
Yeah,
that to me is the perfect ending.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But too bad, the rest of the movie doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are. My number one is going to be Halloween 3.
Oh.
This movie has been hated for 40 years by most only because Michael's not in it. But I love this film. I love the Halloween and creepy fall atmosphere to it. The thing is, yes, this was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, but the direction, the cinematography from Dean Cundy and Carpenter and Alan Howard's score, this feels like a John Carpenter movie.
Yeah.
It feels just like Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins is the man. He's awesome. My favorite Tom Atkins role, of course, is Night of the Creeps. Thrill me. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's just something about Halloween 3 that I love so much, and it's one of those things like I can't help that I like a lot of the black sheeps of the Halloween franchise, like 5, 3, like stuff like that. I can't help that I like that. Um, but yeah, this movie fucking rules. That's all I got to say.
You had a lot of Halloween on your list, just like I had a lot of Friday 13th.
Think about that. I do.
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to Halloween 3, yeah, a lot of people do hate it just because it's not a Michael Myers movie. Just like a lot of people hate Friday 13th Part 5 because Jason's not in it. But I think that makes the series more interesting that they had that one entry that's unrelated to the rest. It's kind of cool. It was an awesome premise with the masks doing gross things to people. I wish there was more of that. There was a lot going on, too. Like there's like androids and stuff with the Celtic rituals and the druids and all this stuff. And Tom Atkins, I love him. Like you said, Night of the Creeps, he was so badass in that movie. There's a lot to like about Halloween 3. When I have a marathon, I usually skip over that one because I'm just watching the Michael Myers movies. But I do watch that one separately sometimes. And yeah, there's a lot to like about it for sure. It is underrated, and it is a shame that people hate it just because, it probably should have been called something else. But it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it's another one for me that it kind of grew on me over the years. Yeah, I did initially. I was like, "What the hell," But when you sit down and watch it, it is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about it.
I love Connell Cochran. I think he's a great villain.
He's a great villain.
Dan O'Hurley, he is awesome in that.
Yeah, he was great in the first 2 RoboCop movies, and yeah, he's great in that too.
Yeah, I'll say
there are things I don't like about it, like
same.
Like the big thing that everybody seems to like is Tom Atkins. I don't like him in that at all.
It's not my
favorite. I like him in other
movies,
movies, but I didn't like him in this one. I just didn't like him. But
yeah, he seems
I didn't buy him as a doctor whatsoever.
Yeah, he seems
like
kind of
Tom Atkins being Tom Atkins, like he's not believable as a doctor though.
Yeah.
But I like the scenes funny when he's macking on the young girl, Stacy Nielkin. But yeah, it's got a lot of the feel of the classic Carpenter movie. The score is great. The look of it is great. It's got some great atmosphere. Probably the best, maybe even the best Halloween vibes of the series.
Yeah.
I love the the mask that the kids wear.
It's a little more about Halloween than the other ones are.
Right.
In a lot of ways. It has more to do with the holiday itself, I guess.
Right.
I'll say my only problem is like the defeat of Connell Cochran. I find hilarious because he gets hit with the beam, but then he's like,
that
effect does not quite hold up when he gets electrocuted.
Not quite. Welcome to the chat, Big K. And welcome, Mr. Dan. Mr. Dan and Horror is in the chat. How's it going? Yeah, I noticed that
cool
too.
To see like Nancy Keys come back from the original. Yeah. You got Jamie Lee Curtis on the loudspeaker, her doing the voice of the town.
Yep.
Yeah.
Over the town.
It kind of has the same feel as the first 2 movies too. Like
it's got a lot of
the series doesn't as much.
That's the thing is, even though it doesn't have Michael, it still feels like part of the Halloween franchise in a way, in a lot of ways.
And Michael is technically in it in that one very briefly. In that one, on the TV.
And then you look at the android characters remind me of Michael kind of the way.
Yeah.
They're all completely emotionless. They're like brutal, killers. And Dick Warlock's one of them.
Yeah, that's right.
But yep, that was my number 1.
Good choice.
Thank you.
I guess you better be quick with the music part. I guess we went a little.
Oh
over.
yeah. Yeah. All right. So yeah, our top 5 go-to metal albums. I've already talked about all these albums a lot on this channel, so I won't go into too much detail. But my number 5 will have to be "Ride the Lightning" by Metallica. When it comes to my favorite Metallica album, it's a close one between this and "Kill 'Em All."
Nice.
But I don't know. I think I might like this one just a little bit better, ever so slightly. It might be their heaviest, quite possibly. James Hetfield, I think, had a really cool metal voice on this one.
Yeah.
His vocals are really cool. Yeah, his and Kirk Hammett's riffs are great. Kirk Hammett's solos are very memorable. Cliff Burton's bass playing is always on point. Even Lars Ulrich's drumming was solid.
Definitely
adequate enough. Yeah, I love tracks like "Fight Fire with Fire." The title track is great. Of course, the iconic "For Whom the Bell Tolls." Yeah, "Fade to Black," of course. "Creeping Death," "Trapped Under Ice." Yeah, great album. And yeah, when it comes to Metallica, this is quite possibly my favorite.
Awesome is more like it.
Yes, love it.
Oh, you get the record, yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, had to. Great album.
Great choice.
Thank you. How about you, Sean?
So my number 5 would be Carcass Heartwork.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that is absolutely one of my go-to albums that I listen to all the damn time. Like, I think every song is awesome. Like, I can just listen to it over and over and never skip a song because it's just phenomenal. Every song is just nasty, killer, incredible.
Agreed.
The playing is great. I love the vocals. I love the guitar is just earth-shattering heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Love the drum work. I love how it's more a little more complex than a little more technical than some of the previous stuff. Kind of continued where they started with necroticism.
Yeah.
And took it kind of to a whole other level, I feel. It's just phenomenal. Every song is a masterpiece to me.
Was Ken Owen still the drummer on that one?
Kevin Owen was still a drummer, yeah.
Ken Owen, yeah.
Ken Owen, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good album. I do prefer Symphonies of Sickness and Necroticism, but Heartwork's probably my 3rd favorite. I just wish that like Bill Steer had still done more vocals.
Kind of the background vocals, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool when him and Jeff Walker would like alternate. Jeff Walker would do kind of the raspy screeches, and then Bill Steer would do the low gutturals. That was really cool. And then Ken Owen would kind of do some weird noises in the background. That was a really cool idea. I kind of wish they'd kept doing that. They continue to do that over years.
That'd be probably the one nitpick I would have with it.
Yeah. Still cool though. I think Bill Steer is a very underrated guitarist.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And of course, they had Michael Amott for a while from Arch Enemy.
Arch Enemy.
Yeah.
He's great. Did great work on that album.
Mm-hmm. Great choice. So for me, I just have 2 quick things to say. One, I know we're doing our top 5 go-to albums, so these are not my top 5 favorite albums ever. They're just some of my go-tos that I love to revisit. And 2, this was actually kind of hard because I like a lot of different subgenres of metal, so I tried to throw some loops in there. With my first one being, I do consider them metal, Dokken. This is Under Lock and Key. Now, there's 3 Dokken albums that I would go with. Either this one, Tooth and Nail, or Back for the Attack, which features Dream Warriors. But I think Dokken is underrated. Like, I consider them metal. Hello.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think George Lynch is easily one of the most underrated metal guitarists ever. Like, you never really hear people mention him, but his solos are wicked. They're great. I think Don Dokken's vocals are really good. Pretty much all the 80s Dokken albums I love. Once it got into the 90s and stuff, I was but yeah, like the solo for what is it, In My Dreams, it was just like tapping and fucking hammering. God. Yeah. I've been a big fan of Dokken for a long time. I still consider them metal, whether that be regular standard metal or hair metal or whatever.
Cool. Good choice.
Yeah, I like Dokken a lot. Yeah, they're really good. Like you said, Don Dokken's a great vocalist. He hits those high notes and stuff. I like singers that can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, of course, any band that does the soundtrack for a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, got to get some props.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like
That's
Dokken.
one of the things that people love most about Part 3 is the Dokken soundtrack. Yeah.
Those are cool music videos, too, that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Dokken. I don't have any of their albums. I should get some of their stuff.
Oh yeah, rocking with Dokken.
Yeah. So it's my turn.
Yep.
All right. So the next choice is going to be "Don't Break the Oath" by Merciful Fate.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, King Diamond. Hell yeah. King Diamond is one of my all-time heroes. He's my idol. He's so cool. He's like one of the few musicians who have been able to pretty much create the music equivalent of a horror movie. Their music sounds like a horror movie in audio format. And he's very great. Great lyricist, great storyteller, great singer. I love his high-pitched falsettos. Very evil sounding stuff. His demonic lyrics, and just great. I would love to meet him someday. He needs to write a book. He needs to start writing horror movies, because some of the concept albums from his self-titled band are
how cool
really,
would that
cool.
be?
Yeah, he would be great at it. Writing a horror movie, make one of his concept albums into a horror movie. But yeah, this is probably my favorite thing him and Merciful Fate have ever done. Of course, his excellent ghastly vocals, and then Hank Sherman and Michael Denner are one of my favorite guitar duos of all time. Their riffs and solos are just breathtaking, just nothing short of incredible. You don't hear them talked about enough. Yeah, I freaking love Hank Sherman and Michael Denner. They're just very, very skilled guitar players. Yeah, I had to get this one on vinyl too. This is my favorites.
It's an awesome cover too.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, great songs like Nightmare, Desecration of Souls, Gypsy, The Oath, the chorus. I also really love their debut, Melissa. And I think that they're actually tied for me. I like Don't Break the Oath and the first album, Melissa, pretty much equally. So it's kind of a hard choice. And I really like their album 9, too. I think that was underrated. But if I actually had to pick one, I'd probably go Don't Break the Oath, because it's pretty much a solid, flawless masterpiece. There's nothing. This album has no filler. It's all killer, no filler. It's just excellent in every way.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Love Merciful Fate.
Well, my next one probably wouldn't be a huge surprise to anybody. Rust in Peace.
Nice. Great
Phenomenal album, like start to finish. Another one, not one clunker on here, just a masterwork.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about speed metal, there's not a better speed metal album than this right here, in my opinion. But phenomenal guitar playing by both Marty Friedman, and you talk about guitar duo, that's a great guitar duo, Marty Friedman and Dave Mustaine.
One of the best.
Yeah, everything about it. It's got some great bass in here too from Dave Ellefson.
Mm-hmm.
I love Dawn Patrol, that's all bass. Awesome drumming. Nick Menza's a great drummer. Probably my favorite of This is my favorite lineup of Megadeth, which a lot of people say,
Absolutely.
I love
none.
Dave Mustaine's vocals even on this are some of his best,
Yeah, they fit.
Yeah, heavy as hell, fast as hell, awesome. Just Megadeth at their peak for me.
Yeah, Marty Friedman is one of my favorite guitarists of all time. He's in my top 5, and yeah, him and Dave Mustaine are great. I always thought Megadeth had the best guitar playing of the big 4 of thrash: Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth. I always thought they had the best guitar playing. Yeah, David Ellison's bass is on point. Nick Minzo's a phenomenal drummer. Yeah, they had a great lineup. Yeah, so many memorable songs on that. It's probably their most popular album, and for good reason. Everybody likes that one the best. I never heard anybody bash it. Hopefully I never will, because they're wrong if they do. But yeah, perfect album. Absolutely love it.
Next up for me is also going to be Heartwork from Carcass.
Nice. Yes.
It's to me one of the greatest death metal albums of all time. Probably the one that I go back to a lot, because it's just you listen to it, and then when you're done and the album's finished, you feel full. You feel like
I know. I just crank it,
The vocals and just the snarl that he has is so epic.
Yeah.
Solos, the melodies, and all the technical work in it. It's just a fantastic album. It's one that I would owned an actual copy of, because I want to hold it up. I don't. But yeah, stuff like Buried Dreams and Heartwork, and it's a 10 out of 10 album in my opinion.
That's one of my favorite riffs ever, Buried Dreams. That's so freaking
love that
heavy.
opening riff.
But yeah, mixing almost like Iron Maiden style, like complex guitar work with just extremely powerful riffs,
Yeah.
And like said, Jeff Walker, even though they didn't have Bill Steer doing the vocals, I feel like he almost stepped it up to make up for that, with how vicious his vocals are.
Definitely.
Phenomenal album. 5-star masterpiece for me.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. It's my turn?
Yep.
All right, so my number 3 go-to album is another album that I've talked about ad nauseum on this channel, but for good reason. It's going to be Power Slave, Iron Maiden.
Nice.
My favorite Maiden album. So much that, yes, I did have to buy the vinyl. Yeah, Up the Irons. This, I think, is their finest hour. It's their best work. Absolutely, yeah. Bruce Dickinson's powerful pipes, his vocal acrobatics are just, unparalleled, unmatched by, mostly everybody. He hits those high notes, and it's just insane, his range.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Steve Harris is my favorite bassist of all time. His bass lines are just so on point and just incredible, just breathtaking.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, and of course, Adrian Smith and Dave Murray are another one of my favorite guitar duos in metal. Their riffs and solos are just spectacular. They just blow me away every time. It's such a unique style too, I just love it. It's so moving, so compelling. Nico McBrain. This was his second album with the band after Peace of Mind. He's a great drummer as well. I like him and Clive Burr about the same when it comes to Maiden's drummers. They both have their strong points. I think they're both equally good. But yeah, great lineup, great songs. I love the title track. That's my favorite Iron Maiden song of all time. It really sucks that they didn't play that live when I saw them in concert. I wish they would have, but whatever. You can't have everything. I think it's kind of an underrated song too. It doesn't get talked about very much.
I know.
I think it's way better than Run to the
One of the best.
Yeah, I love Power Slave, the song. But also, of course, Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight. Flash of the Blade, Back in the Village. Really, I love all the songs, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, too, of course. Yeah, it's a perfect album front to back, I wish there was more tracks on it, It's there's not enough tracks. It's just so good. I just always want more because it's just that awesome. Yeah, Power Slave, Iron Maiden. It's a masterpiece.
Hell yeah.
Even though there's a song that's like, what was it, 15 minutes?
Yeah, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. Yeah, that's when they started doing the really long, really epic songs. But yeah, very long song. But
but I love it.
Of course, there are more tracks.
Yeah, that's my favorite Maiden album as well. And Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is one of my favorite songs, even though it's a very long one. I just hear the Rhyme of the Ancient
So epic.
That's definitely up there, my favorite.
I love it.
So number 2 for me. Well, no, I'm sorry. Number 3 we're at. I skipped one. It may be cliche, yes, but I don't care. Rain in Blood. Freaking phenomenal, and everything people say about it is correct to me. Like, it's a freaking barrage of anger and horror and in-your-face metal, thrash metal at its finest. It's so brutal. It's so awesome. It's scary. Oh man, Tom Araya's vocals are the best he's ever been, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Some of the nastiest riffs they've ever done, the best written riffs like that Jeff Hanneman has ever done, and man, yeah, I can't say enough about it. The sound quality, definitely a step up in production value wise from the previous album, even though I love Hell Awaits and all that, but like, man, you really hear them here. Like, it's almost like as if Hell Awaits had good production value, But yeah, clear as a bell, awesome, just Slayer destroying. It's amazing.
Yeah, I wanted a Slayer album to make my list, and I almost went with either that or Hell Awaits. But yeah, Rain of Blood is a great album. It's popular for a reason. Yeah, Tom Araya really was the voice of hell back then. He could hit those high notes, and he could do the low growls. He was just very evil sounding. The guitar playing by Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman is just violent and aggressive as hell and just chaotic. And I hate when people say that Slayer lacks good guitar playing because the solos are sloppy. They say the solos are sloppy and unstructured. I love their solos. I think they're perfect for Slayer. Maybe they're not the most technical, but they're perfect for Slayer. They're violent and aggressive. And
but it's so evil sounding.
Yeah, it sounds like the soundtrack.
Work is.
Right. It sounds like the soundtrack.
No one sounds more evil on guitar than Slayer.
Yeah, Jeff Hanneman's songwriting, I think, is perfect. And him and Kerry King, their lyrics and. Yeah, there's everything just so evil and blasphemous sounding in an awesome way. And I think they're one of my favorite guitar duos. I don't care what any elitist jerk off says. I think that they do have a great lead guitar playing, even if they're not the most technical. Who cares? It's perfect for Slayer sound. It's metal as hell. It's so heavy. And Dave Lombardo is my favorite drummer. He just plays so fast. His beats and fills are just so precise and so. I think they are kind of pretty technical, actually. His drum beats.
Some of his most iconic, stuff is on Rain and Blood for sure.
Right. Yeah, Dave Lombardo was a phenomenal drummer. I'm glad that I got to see them live when they still before Jeff passed away, and when they still had Dave in the band too. I saw them with Gary Holt and Paul Bostoff also, and it was a great show. But it was much cooler to see the classic lineup, of course. The original.
Yeah, me too. I did get to see them several times before he passed.
Right. Yeah, I saw him in 2008 with Jeff and Dave, and then I saw him again in 2018, 10 years later with Gary and Paul.
I saw him even way back in Divine Intervention there.
Oh wow, cool.
Quite a while ago.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, they put on a great show.
Oh yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Love me some Slayer.
Great pick. Great pick. My number 3 gonna be another odd pick probably, but I just wanted to show some of my different loves, I guess. But yeah, my number 3 is gonna be the debut album from the band Wasp.
Wow.
I like Wasp. I think their first album is my favorite. I think that's probably I don't know the heaviest, but they got a lot of heavy stuff. I think Blackie Lawless's vocals are really cool. They're kind of dirty and grimy. This for their classic songs like "I Want to Be Somebody," "Wanna Be." I like that one. Then you got like Animal, like "Fuck Like a Beast," Higher, and like what I like about the band is they did some pretty crazy stuff too. Like if you saw the live shows, you'd see like Blackie holding up a skull and spitting blood out on people and stuff like that. So they did some. But it's another band where mainly their first like 4 or 5 albums. That's where I like the best. But yeah, the debut album from Wasp I think is pretty damn. It's good heavy metal. That's what I'll say.
Nice.
It's good classic heavy metal.
Wasp is cool. I like Wasp. I don't know a whole lot about them, but I do like their stuff. Blackie Lawless is definitely very talented. I guess he played bass for them originally. They switched to guitar, and he's always been the vocalist, of course. I really like that song by Wasp on the Ghoulies 2 soundtrack. Scream Until You Like It, I guess is the name of it. Or at least that's what the chorus says a lot. That's a good song. It's really killer. Wasp was cool. Did you know that Blackie Lawless, apparently, I read this somewhere, that he was rumored, he was considered to play the T-1000 in Terminator 2.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. That would have been interesting.
Oh, wow.
To say the least. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. Be very different, I would think. Yeah, I like Wasp. I think they're cool.
Yeah, I was looking through some like facts about horror movies, and I discovered that also Blackie Lawless was originally going to play Sammy Kerr in Trick or Treat, but once
that I could see.
Yeah, that would have worked.
Once he found out that he'd have to be lip syncing another band's songs, he bowed out and didn't want to.
Oh yeah.
But it would have fit.
Yeah, that would have worked for sure. All right, so my number 2 go-to album is yet another album that I talked about to death on this channel. Had to have something by Judas Priest, and Sad Wings of Destiny is my favorite album by them.
Nice.
Love Sad Wings of Destiny. I've said it before, and I'll say it again and again. Rob Halford is my favorite vocalist of all time. He can get those high notes like it's nobody's business. He has such a wide range, like 4-octave range, I believe it is. His singing is just incredible, phenomenal. He's one of my all-time heroes. When I saw him in concert, he can still belt it out. He can still, he's still got those powerful pipes. And yeah, this is their finest hour. This is my favorite album. I had to get this on vinyl too, of course. Rob Halford, I think, was one of his best vocal performances on this one. And of course, KK Downing and Glenn Tipton, another one of my favorite guitar duos. They're just mesmerizing. Their riffs and solos are, nothing short of immaculate. Ian Hill's bass playing's great. I think was it Alan Moore? They've gone through so many drummers. I think it was Alan Moore that played drums on this one. Yeah, Alan Moore, the same name as the guy who wrote Batman: The Killing Joke and Watchmen. So, not to be confused with the comic writer of the same name. Alan Moore is a good drummer. This is the only album he was on, I'm pretty sure. Everybody did great songs. Tyrant, Genocide, Victim of Changes. It's a great song. I actually played that when I saw them live.
Nice.
It was great. Dreamer Deceiver, very beautiful, very woeful, melancholy, very moving track. And then my favorite song of all time by Judas Priest, one of the most underrated songs in all of metal. They never play it live. Nobody ever talks about it. Deceiver. I freaking love that song. It is awesome. It's short and sweet. It has one of my favorite songs they've ever done. They sound like, I don't know, like Led Zeppelin or something. Rob Halford hits those high notes. It's just insane. Love Deceiver. My band, Dismal Descent, even covers that song.
Nice.
And I think we do a pretty good job, but not as good as Judas Priest, of course. But yeah, it's a great song, and this whole album is just perfection from start to finish. There's not a single flaw about it. Seven Rings of Destiny is phenomenal.
Awesome.
Absolutely love it.
Excellent, Joe.
Thank you. I'll be right back, guys.
Yep. Got any honorable mentions there?
Yeah, about 7 of them.
What's that?
Probably.
Oh, several. Yeah, what's one of them?
I will say Hell Awaits by Slayer.
Nice.
I love that album. That Hell Awaits and Rain and Blood are my top 2 when it comes
nice.
I don't know. I just enjoy the rawness of that album. And
yeah, that's the best thing about it, I think.
Yeah.
That raw, old school, thrash.
It sounded evil. And at times, it sounded like he was reading from the Necronomicon or something.
I know. I do think that's the most evil sounding they've ever been.
Yeah.
Sounds like they literally came from hell.
Yep. Let's see. Looking at my CD shelf to see if I missed anything. Probably. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, a big one for me is probably the biggest one for me is the one that Hellhound mentioned, of course. Ride the Lightning. Yes, I don't have Metallica in my go-to ones, but it's definitely an honorable mention, and Ride the Lightning is definitely my favorite Metallica album. It's as close to perfect as they've ever been for me.
That's my favorite.
I've never been a huge fan of Fade to Black, but I feel like it's so played out,
Yeah.
But everything else I love,
I think even For Whom the Bell Tolls is kind of overplayed. But it's still a good song.
Yeah. I still love it, though. Another big, huge honorable mention for me would be Fear Factory, The Manufacturer.
Yeah.
I think is an awesome album,
Hell yeah.
Brutally heavy, fast, technical, cold sounding, and scary, robotic, cyber metal. It's awesome. That's probably their best album. I think most people would say that.
When it comes to honorable mentions for me, definitely Rust in Peace by Megadeth. Definitely Rain and Blood and Hell Awaits by Slayer. Diary of a Madman by Ozzy, Holy Diver by Dio. Two of the Mutilated by Cannibal Corpse, Covenant and Altars of Madness by Morbid Angel, Leprosy by Death.
Yeah.
Some Degrees of Sickness by Carcass. Yeah, there's so many. I could be here all day. Bonded by Blood by Exodus. Spreading the Disease by Anthrax. There's so many great ones.
Yep. I think a big honorable mention for me. Death.
Yeah, Screenplay. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, that's a great album.
There's just a lot that I wanted to put on here, and it was just like.
That's one that just has that rawness, just like
Yeah.
But whose turn is it?
I think it was me. Number 2, yes, my number 2 is without a doubt White Zombie, Los Sexorcisto, Devil Music, Volume 1.
Great choice.
Like, that album I can listen to nonstop over and over and over. That thing is phenomenal to me. I love that grungy, grimy guitar is so cool. I think Jay is one of the most underrated guitarists ever in metal.
Yeah.
I love Rob Zombie's vocals. He had much more deep kind of growl back then, and I really enjoyed that. I love the crazy over-the-top lyrics. I love the cool horror sound bites from the movies.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool. I love the horror metalness of it. Love Sean on bass too. She's cool. She's hot. She's very punk. You know.
I don't think she's doing anything anymore that I know of. It'd be cool if she
She
made
was in a band for a while. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I don't hear about her much anymore. They cool if her and Rob Zombie collaborated again musically.
I think she's someone that's very underrated in metal, like for women.
Yeah.
You know, back in 1992. Well, even before then, but you know, that was their breakthrough album.
Right.
Yeah, I love every song. You know, that's just one of those albums I can listen to over and over again. You know, never gets old for me.
I was just listening to that the other day, actually. White Zombie was one of the bands that got me into metal. You know, not for them, I might not. I probably would have still become a metalhead anyway, but they accelerated the process, I think. And yeah, Rob Zombie's another musician like King Diamond who's done a great job putting horror movies in music format. The sound clips of all the horror movies. That's so cool. It's so freaking cool. And and that's a great album. Yeah, they were kind of like noise rock, a little bit of a punk element there, especially when they first started with their EP, Gods of on Voodoo Moon and stuff. It's kind of punk sounding.
True.
Yeah, great band. I wish they would have done a little more. They only really had, they had 4 studio albums, but 2 of them, Soul Crusher and Make Them Die Slowly, I think they were independent releases, and they're very hard to find.
Yeah.
I really want to get that box set, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. I think that has all their musical. I was like all their EPs, every album. Yeah, but it's always been expensive. Like even since it first came out, it's like $75 eBay right now.
Pretty,
I really like to own it.
Kind of a rare.
Yeah. It has all their music as a box set, and I wanted to have it ever since it was announced. But it's always been way too pricey. Because I would love to have all their music, you know. But yeah, I love La Sexorcisto and Astro Creep. I think they're both great.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be another honorable mention because damn it, I forgot about that album. Great choice though. This was difficult. My number 1 and 2, back and forth on any given day. It don't really matter. But my number 2, here we go. Revolution Calling.
Yes.
Also got the live DVD with that.
Nice.
What can you say? This album's a masterpiece.
Well, you got the super deluxe edition there.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, just everything, every single song on this album is perfect in my opinion. Like I love the story on it. I love that it's a concept album, so you got that story that translates. I remember the first song I ever heard from Queensryche was Eyes of a Stranger. And even though some people may say that's one of their more overplayed songs, I never get tired of it.
Overplayed? It's freaking phenomenal.
Great song.
Jeff Tate's vocals are phenomenal on this, and most of their stuff, honestly, I mean, mainly, to me, this is the perfect album. Everything about it, and it's a great pairing, I'd say, with Empire as well. That's another album. And these are often the 2 albums that are held highest in their regards, but I still prefer the both. But everything, album 10. That's all I got to say.
Mic drop.
Oh yeah.
I love Queensryche. Yeah, Jeff Tate is in my top 5 favorite vocalists of all time. He can hit those high notes. He sounds incredible. And I loved when him and Chris DeGarmo were in the band. Chris DeGarmo is a great guitarist. It's a shame they're not in anymore. And, Scott Rockenfield, the drummer. He's not in there anymore either, I don't guess. So it's just Michael Wilton and Eddie Jackson are the only two original members.
Yeah.
I saw them in concert and it was great. I wish they could have been with Jeff Tate and Chris DeGarmo. But Todd LaTorre is a great singer as well, but it'll never be the same without Jeff Tate. But I think the best thing they've ever done was the self-titled EP. Queen of the Break was the first song I ever heard by them, and it blew me away. It was like fast, it was heavy. The Jeff Tate singing is just incredible. It's such an awesome song. I think it's the best thing they've ever done. That's my favorite song of theirs, and it was the first song I ever heard by them, and I think it's still their best.
It's certainly the most classic metal style, like
I love it.
Like Iron Maiden,
right? Yeah, they played that song when I saw them live, and it just blew me away.
Yeah, but
that's a great album too.
Yeah, the thing about Operation Mindcrime, it's one of those for me anytime albums. I listen to music a lot. Sometimes I'll put it on and just I listen to that.
Whenever I listen to it, I have to sing like along to it, like all the lyrics, and I sound like crap. But I try. I'm like,
I'd love to talk my band into doing a cover of a Queensryche song.
Hell yeah,
that'd be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
We have a female singer, and she's incredible. She could probably sing like Jeff Tate, I bet.
Oh, nice.
She sounds like Amy Lee, so I'm sure she could do some Queensryche stuff.
That's what I like when they have, when you see them live, they have the girl come out and sing the Sweet Sister Mary part.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
She could sing all the high notes,
Right. All right, so my number one, of course, had to be something about Black Sabbath, my favorite band. And I'll go with Master of Reality, my favorite album by them. Most people say Paranoid. And yeah, Paranoid's great. That has like all their greatest hits on it. The title track, Iron Man, War Pigs, songs I've heard over and over and over and over and over. I'm kind of sick of it. That's like their greatest hits album. I'm just listening to that one way too much. When it comes to Paranoid, I kind of like like Electric Funeral and Planet Caravan,
yeah, because those ones you don't hear all the time.
You don't hear. I'm so sick of Iron Man. I don't ever need to hear Iron Man again. It's a great song, but I mean, man, it's after hearing it 80,000 times, it just lost all meaning. I'm sorry. Stay with Paranoid. Still a great album, but I like Master Reality even better. This is my favorite album by them.
Me too.
My favorite album from the Ozzy era. Yeah, Sweet Leaf's a great song. After Forever is very underrated. That's an awesome song. I wish they'd play that live more. Short of the Grave, I think it was probably their heaviest song at the time, until like Symptom of the Universe came out. But like at the time,
Into the Void, that's super heavy too.
Into the Void's great. Yeah, that's awesome. This album's great. Lord of this World's another underrated one. And probably their most underrated song from the Ozzy era, Solitude, a very soft, woeful, very moving song. It's very melancholy and just very emotional. I love it. And Ozzy had those soft, woeful lyrics. He could really sing when he wanted to, and I wish he would have done that vocal style a little more. The only other time you hear him sing like that with Sabbath was the original alternate lyrics version of Planet Caravan before they altered his voice with a Leslie speaker. Like, he doesn't have a distorted voice in the original version, and I don't think he really needed it because he sounded great. Those soft, woeful vocals sounded awesome. Tony Iommi, of course, is my favorite guitarist of all time. He's the riff master. He's the godfather of metal. He never runs out of ideas for riffs. His solos are immaculate. Geezer Butler's bass lines are phenomenal as always, and his lyrics, he writes all the lyrics, just in case you didn't know, are amazing too. And Bill Ward's drumming. Yeah, everybody's great on this album. There's not a bad song on it. Master Reality is, in my opinion, their finest hour when it comes to Sabbath. Yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic album. Absolutely love it.
That would have been another huge honorable mention for me. Yeah, that is my favorite Black Sabbath album, yeah.
For sure.
But for me, I will echo Harfin 8
Nice.
Operation Mind. My favorite metal album of all time, period. And it's the go-to for me. I can't stop listening to it, and I never will.
That would have been an honorable mention for sure for me.
Every song is freaking phenomenal. I love the story of it, the lyrics, everything about it. The vocals are amazing. The guitar, everything. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Love it. I really wish I could have saw them live when they had Jeff Tate and Chris DeGarmo.
Yeah, me too. I never got to. That sucks.
Yeah. I think Scott Rockenfield left right after I saw them, so I did see them with the original drummer. I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah, I wish I could have saw with Jeff and Chris.
Yeah.
My brother got to the bastard. He saw him in that prime, you know.
Yeah.
With Metallica and
wow,
Ozzy. Like they opened for Ozzy and Metallica like way back in 1984 or something.
Man, I bet that was a great show. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you son of a bitch. I would have loved that.
Unleashed Raider 1985's in the chat. How's it going?
What's up?
I agree. Chainsaw 2 and Friday 5 are definitely classics. Very underrated.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you guys ever noticed that whenever we get to the music portion of our stream, the chat is kind of dead?
People check out.
Yeah, it's pretty like thriving whenever it's the horror portion, but when you talk about music, it kind of dies out. That's because I think a lot of my viewers aren't metalheads, but a lot.
Come on, people.
I know. Pretty much all of them are horror fans, of course.
Horror and metal, they go so well together.
Yeah, you would think so, but I know a lot of horror fans that don't listen to metal. It's weird. Like I always thought they went together, but you know, I know a lot of horror fans that don't listen to metal. So yeah, not all my viewers are metalheads. You know, surprisingly.
For me,
but all of horror,
big time.
Yeah, for me, yeah, it always has for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
I always notice that afterward, like after the show's done, like that's when the views start racking up on the
yeah,
that's true.
Like some of them at like 200, 300 views. Now it's like
right. I probably should have filmed a promo video. I just didn't get around to it. I didn't get a chance. I've been kind of lazy, I guess.
I did.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad somebody did. So then, you know.
Yeah, I haven't uploaded in like 4 months.
Say where you been, man?
Yeah, I don't make videos very frequently anymore either at all. Like I haven't done an actual movie review, like an individual review in forever. I need to get back to it because I've been slacking when it comes to my channel.
Recently, you've started a little bit.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit more and more. But I went a while without uploading anything. I just go through phases. Sometimes I'm like uploading one after another. Then I'll just go through times where I'm hardly ever.
Sometimes you feel like productive. I want to get stuff done today.
Yeah, but other times.
That's how I was today.
Right.
But yeah, one. My number one is an album that I unfortunately don't own because it's so damn hard to find for a good price. And that is The Ultimate Sin from Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh wow.
Ozzy's The Ultimate Sin. That album holds a lot of nostalgia for me. It was the first Ozzy album I ever heard. And
really?
Yeah, and there it is. Jealous I am, and I love that album. All the songs on it, you know, of course, like Shot in the Dark is a very popular one. Lightning Strikes, Killer of Giants, stuff like that. It's just my personal favorite Ozzy album, and hell, I think Jakey Lee is the most underrated Ozzy guitarist. Like,
yes,
yeah, I have to agree.
Like, he's my third favorite after Randy Rhoads and Zach Wilde.
Yeah,
and Jakey Lee's great.
it was always between this and Bark at the Moon as like between my number ones, but this is the one that I the most.
J.K. Lee was on Bark at the Moon, right?
Yeah.
Yes. That was his first album with the band, I believe. Oh, thank you, Raider. Raider. Yeah, I don't like new metal either. Yeah, glad to see a fellow metalhead. That's cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this album is extremely underrated. Even Ozzy kind of disowns this one. It is very hard to find, especially on CD. I won't say how much I spent on it, but it wasn't cheap. That's for sure. I was looking for it for years. Yeah, everybody knows about Shot in the Dark, but the rest of the album, people hardly ever talk about. I don't know why Ozzy disowns it, because I think this is his best vocal performance from his solo work. His singing is incredible on this.
Yeah.
Just listen to any of his songs. His voice really shines. I don't know why he doesn't like this album. It's weird. It's very hard to find. So much so that I actually didn't hear the whole album in its entirety until I bought it. Until somewhat recently, and when I made my top 10 favorite 1986 metal albums, I didn't have this one on there because I hadn't really listened to it all that much since it's so rare. But now I would definitely put that on there, very high up too. This is an awesome album, so underrated, and I think it's one of Ozzy's best work. I just wish.
I think that's the coolest album cover. For
oh,
sure.
It's so awesome!
Awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool. I wish it would get the recognition and the respect that it deserves.
Yeah. Like Ozzy has
away.
Great albums, like Blizzard of Oz. That's a great album.
Yeah.
No Rest
for the Madman.
Like No Rest for the Wicked is really good, and stuff like that. It's just that is the album most when I think.
Yeah, his first, I guess, like 6 or so albums were very, very good, I thought.
Yeah.
And I'll give one last honorable mention. I forgot about it. It's going to be Fastway with Trick or Treat from, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I love, even though it's a movie soundtrack album, I still love it to death.
Is that the Blu-ray of Trick or Treat you got there?
Yeah, it's like Rag.
Another language or? Oh, yeah, Ragman. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I believe it's a German Blu-ray, but it's region.
Right. Yeah. Most Blu-rays are, I think.
It looks good, so that's good. But
cool. I need to get that on Blu-ray.
Yeah. Another honorable, I'll say, is one of my absolute favorite is Miss Sugar. Destroy, Erase, Improve.
Oh nice.
Ass. I love that freaking album.
Been a while.
I love Miss Sugar's highly underrated band, in my opinion. Every album.
I remember listening to them back in the early 2000s, and not a lot of people I knew really knew about them. So I kind of introduced some of my friends to them. I'm kind of behind on their stuff. I haven't really listened to much of their stuff in years.
Yeah, but to me, they're one of the most consistently good bands. To this day, they're still making really good stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
And they have such a unique style, Nobody sounds like Meshuggah.
Yeah, they are very
that grinding ass guitar,
yeah, pretty diverse too.
Yeah.
Well, another honorable mention for me would be pretty much every album by Michael Bolton.
No talent, ass clown.
Yeah. Not.
Yeah, I think this was.
What's your favorite Michael Bolton song?
All of them.
I just sort of like them all.
They're all great. Can't pick just one. He's shaped who I am. Psych.
You're about to lose your metal cred. Remember he actually tried, when he first came out, wasn't he trying to be like a metalhead or something?
Gosh, no.
He had the long hair.
Oh gosh. Cringeworthy.
Wasn't he the one that sung that song like "Tell me how it possible"?
Yes.
Oh man. No. Terrible. Terrible.
Yep. But this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed hearing all.
This was one of our best streams.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm actually glad that it ended up being longer than I planned. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Came back in the new year kicking some ass.
Yeah, that's right.
Great job, guys.
You too.
Likewise. It was a lot of fun. Hope to
Definitely.
think of some ideas for our next one.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait.
Maybe we could start doing like our top. So we've talked about so many of our favorite bands already and looked at their discography. Maybe we could start doing like our top 5 albums from a certain band.
Oh yeah.
Like each or
I
something
could
like
get
that.
into that.
Yeah, like we'll pick a different band every maybe some that we've already talked about too, and just list our top 5 favorite albums.
Yeah,
Each one
sounds good.
or something like that.
I'd be down.
Or we could do some underrated albums, like albums that don't get talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
And we could do maybe even some of our least favorite albums from our favorite bands. Like take great bands, but pick our least favorite album from.
You should do a new metal show. No. I know you'd love that.
I used to be pretty big on new metal back in like the early 2000s, but I'm so behind on it now. I haven't listened to Slipknot or Korn or Disturbed or System of a Down in so long.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I used to like that stuff. I don't know.
I
I disrespect anybody who likes it. It's just not my thing anymore. I feel like I'm getting too old for some of that stuff. It doesn't appeal to me anymore. As an angst-ridden younger person, it did, but not so much now.
Yeah, we could do a whole episode dedicated to the greatness that is Illusion Venom Infected Anus from Morbid.
Infected anus. I like that title better.
Yeah,
yeah. It actually fits more.
it does.
Yeah, I think it'd be a cool idea for a video, or some of our least. My buddy Dr. Guts did that one time with Into the Pit. But yeah, some of our take our favorite bands, but our least favorite album from. Elude, Divinum, and Sanus, of course, would be on there. Saint Anger by Metallica, obviously. Risk by Megadeth.
Yeah.
What's the one by Queensryche that's really bad? Something Soldier or something? Universal Soldier or American Soldier?
American Soldier or something
American
like that.
Soldier,
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. Oh man, I couldn't believe what I was hearing when I listened.
Yeah,
to it.
it's bad.
I was like, I can't believe this is the same band that did Operation Mindcrime and Empire
I know,
and
right?
Waits for Order and Warning. Oh man, some of that stuff was like almost Limp Bizkit worthy.
It's probably that might have been one of the things that led to the breakup.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that one of the last ones before.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, there's a lot we could get into.
Yeah. Cold Lake by Celtic Frost would be another one.
Dude.
I do think Cherry Orchard is kind of catchy though.
Yeah.
It's kind of a guilty pleasure in a way. I hate to admit it, but it's not a good song by any means.
No.
Yeah, that'd be fun to do.
Yeah.
I think it was a damn show.
Definitely.
I agree. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to come together and do another stream.
Sorry, went a little bit over Hellhound.
Oh, that's okay.
After bedtime, right?
Oh, that's okay. I had a blast. Yeah, I was enjoying it. I didn't want it to end, actually.
Good.
It goes so quick, you don't even notice it half the time.
It does, yeah. Time flies.
Man, we went over. I know you said we went over though.
Well, I could talk about horror and metal forever. So I just never stop talking about it. So,
Me too.
I just lose track of time. Time just flies when I talk about.
That's why I love doing this with you guys. Like, I get to talk about metal and horror, and not just strictly horror.
Hell yeah!
I do it. I try to do it once in a while on my channel, but nobody watches it. It's like Why do I bother?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, well, most of my metal related. I wanted this channel to be equal parts horror and metal. I wanted it to be 50-50, but like, yeah, most of my metal related videos, my album reviews and stuff, don't get nearly as many views and comments as my horror ones. And a lot of times I'll do like a review of a metal album, and somebody will comment and say, "When are you going to do another horror movie review?"
Dude, it's in your name.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is your next video going to be horror? You know, and I like to talk about comic books a lot too, and superheroes.
Yeah, I try to mix it up here and there. I know I do. I try to do a lot of different stuff. Like,
do some sci-fi too, you know.
I did that for a while, but
yeah, but it's it's been predominantly horror, just because that's what people want to talk about the most.
Yeah,
which is fine because I love talking about it, but
yep.
I have way more horror-related videos than metal ones because
Yeah, that's what people want. That's what
yeah.
people want. That's what the public wants.
I give them what they want.
Give them what they want.
Hell yeah.
I feel like the ones that people watch most are like Halloween. Anytime I talk about Halloween stuff or
my
camera stuff.
Yeah, my Halloween ranking video, which was one of the first videos I did, has. Hold on, let me see. I set it to private so nobody can watch it, but
that was the first video I ever saw of you.
Really? Yeah, it's got.
Oh yes, ranking the Halloween. Nice.
It's got 14,000 views.
Wow.
And, I guess 200 likes. It'd probably have more if I hadn't privated it a few years ago. But I think that was my most popular video.
Oh shit!
I just can't stand those early videos on my channel. I was not good at it back then.
It's tough when you go back and look at your early.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh man, this is just terrible. Like I talk so slow, and just the video is way longer than it needed to be. So I privated a lot of those early videos because some people ask about them sometimes, but
yeah,
I think it's fun though looking back at him. Oh man,
yeah, see how much you've grown. But, Full Moon 1973 is in the chat.
Hey, what's up, man?
Good evening.
You missed it.
Yeah, we're wrapping up now. But you can catch the replay.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Looking forward to our next stream.
Yeah, we've come a long way, haven't we?
Yeah, 25 episodes.
You've been at it even longer than I have.
Yeah. Yeah, 25 episodes.
When did you start?
Was it 2016?
Holy crap! Wow.
Let me look it up real quick. Let me look at my.
No, you've been doing it longer than that, haven't you? I've been doing it longer than that. I thought you've been around longer than me.
2015.
All right, so around the same.
Almost a decade. I had some other videos. Like I had videos on this channel as early as like 2009. I've had an account since like 2006, but I wasn't doing it like seriously. I had one talking about guitar, then I had one like just kind of showing my DVD collection. Then I had a few videos of a band I was in, some live performances of a band I was in, the concert. All those are privated now. They're all set to private, but I had those on there before I started like seriously doing Hellhound's late night spook show, before I had the name and everything.
Yeah.
How about you, horror fan? When did you start doing YouTube?
I actually had a channel before I had 88.
Yeah, me too.
And I started my first channel back in 2013, like January of 2013.
Oh, wow.
And it's crazy how different it's become. Like when I first started, I had like a whole group of horror review friends, and now like their channels are gone. It's just like a whole different landscape of
things.
Yeah, you see people come and go over the
years. That was like so long ago that I was like, I don't know, a teenager or something, but I was like, hey, we're gonna review Halloween 5. I was like, it was crazy as hell. Like not like better now, but yeah. it's just so different than it is now on YouTube.
It has changed a lot. But yeah, I just made a channel. I just made an account just to watch videos and like comment on them. I wasn't planning on having a channel. And then when I started doing videos, it's actually me and my buddy Spellbinder who passed away. What was it, last year or the year before?
Yeah, I remember seeing those.
Yeah, it was originally good. We were gonna actually do video game playthroughs.
Really?
So it'd have been a totally different channel. We both worked as cooks in a restaurant. We talked about doing that with this other guy, and he dropped out, and it was just gonna be the two of us. But then we didn't have my computer crashed. We didn't have the technology. I was like, let's just talk about things we enjoy. I was like, but let's talk about horror stuff a lot because this is a horror channel. So that was some of the earliest stuff I did on the channel, as well as Dead Level, and we actually did 40 episodes of that.
Wow!
But those didn't get very many views or comments either. Really, a lot of people didn't watch those. They were very long. But yeah, I had a lot of ideas for the channel when I first started. That kind of became something different.
Awesome, man! Keep it up.
Oh yeah, likewise. Yeah,
I plan on doing this forever until
me too.
I'm gonna be around.
Yeah, this is our 25th live stream, so the Morbid Hours come along.
Hey, even the Morbid Hours been going.
Yeah, wow! I can't believe 25 episodes. That's pretty good. That's more than any other collaborations I've done, not counting Dead Level. That had 40. Blood Spatter Trio, I think, only had 6 streams when we did the streams with Bronco.
All right, man. I'm gonna get going. Been a great time. I'll see you guys next time.
All right, you too, man.
Likewise.
Peace out, brother.
Great stream. Great job.
Have a great night.
You too.